Chapter 65. Influenced by Brahman's showing off and smugness, Lu Cheng was also a little complacent. He felt something called cool in his heart and couldn't wait to read everyone's replies. Beautiful world used ellipses and a sentence to express her feelings. This is not scientific, outspoken was even more suspicious. Did Lu Cheng take some elixir? Otherwise, how could he beat Master Road? First, it's allowed by the rules. Second, is it worth 5,000 yuan for the top 16? Isn't it harmful to the body? Plumber eating mushrooms, retorted outspoken. That's right. If I had the money to buy pills, why would I be ecstatic over 5,000 yuan? Lu Cheng nodded slightly. As the saying goes, one is marked by the company one keeps. Couples and boyfriends become more and more alike. He had unconsciously learned some of Yan Zhika's language habits. Unparalleled Dragon King appeared and said with a dazed expression, "How do you explain?" When I heard the news, I was King stunned. This is not reasonable. I paused for a long time before I remembered to watch the video of the match. I realized that although Master Road always had the upper hand and had a chance to win, the way he fought, how should I put it? He wasn't resolute enough and didn't fight hard enough. On the contrary, when Lu Cheng seized that short moment of opportunity, he fought with great momentum, decisiveness, and sharpness. It was as if he had put everything on the line. When two rivals meet on a narrow road, the brave wins. Pig Riding Knight also replied. In other words, he lost in the small arena because of his mentality. He made me look at his naked body without any reaction. Wonton seller, said the little girl. No hooligan, snickered and replied, you think Master Road's body is not as good as Little Fist's? No. I'm thinking about how he lost in the small arena. How did you lose? Wonton seller sent a helpless emoji with its hands outstretched. Okamoto's fan said with tears in his eyes, you bad guys. Yesterday, you were so confident in your discussion that I thought Master Road was going to win. So I bet on him. Today, I'm paralyzed at home, waiting for the rooftop. Really? Fake? Don't scare me. Wonton seller replied quickly. Okamoto's fan said, it's fake. But I lost a month's worth of cigarette money. I'm crying in the toilet. A plumber eating mushroom sighed and said, sighing expression, Lu Cheng is really at the level of an amateur first pin fighter. There isn't much of a gap between a fighter of this level and a professional ninth pin fighter who has been neglected for a few years. Improvisation is more important. Mentality and willpower are more important. Thank you for the compliment, thank you for the compliment. Every reply made Lu Cheng burst with joy. This is what it means to be secretly happy. As he continued reading, the little girl, Brahman, jumped out again. She laughed and said, have you seen the reality? Oh, where are the photos? Unparalleled Dragon King replied, I think I saw a picture of the top 16 on the official website. I'll help you look for it. 10 seconds later, he appeared in the photo. Wearing the navy blue Longhu Club martial arts suit, Lu Cheng stood in the middle of the ring. The overhead lights seemed to cover him with a layer of brilliance. When did you take this? Not bad. Lu Cheng was surprised at first, but then he was pleasantly surprised. This photo seemed to be taken by the official photographer after he defeated Zhou Yuaning. The angle was good, and he looked more handsome than usual. Never offend a photographer. He complained. He saved the photo and sent it to Yan Zhika. In his computer's hard drive, there was now a folder named Yanling Martial Arts Journey. It was dedicated to storing videos, photos, and information related to this competition as a souvenir. Similarly, there was also a folder named Yen. It was filled with saved voice recordings and exported chat records. To avoid losing them, he had made many copies of this folder and saved them on every drive. Not bad. I almost didn't recognize it. Yan Zhika quickly replied with an expression of pushing up glasses. I now believe in the photographer's magic of Photoshop and beautification. Without the latter two, I feel brand new. Lu Qing snickered. I found that you don't like to show your photos. Yenjika replied concisely, lazy, annoying, and bad photography skills. Then I have to practice my photography skills. Maybe I can take photos that satisfy you. Lu Qing said ambiguously. Then you have to work hard. If you make me look ugly, Yenjika said in a lively tone. While they were chatting, Lu Qing continued to read the replies. Brahman said, wow, my new idol is not bad. He seems to be a fan of the Longhu Club too. What a coincidence. Wonton Seller scratched her head and said, why does he look familiar? I think so too. Above the Sky posted a reply after a long time. I remember. Wait a minute. She quickly sent a link to a post. Go and see. We watched the National University Martial Arts Competition program before. Look at the passerby at the beginning. Damn it, I even said that the silly little brother was quite cute at that time. When did I learn the supernatural ability to see the essence through appearances? What? What? Brahman said with a cute emoji. Let me see first. After a short while, Wonton Seller replied. It's really that passerby young man. How did the kid who laughed foolishly and said he felt honored suddenly become a mysterious master who could defeat a professional ninth pin fighter? Do you think it's because he's good at acting and pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger? Or is he really so silly that he became a master as soon as he got on the stage? Above the Sky also expressed a mixture of shock and doubt. So it's him. Unparalleled Dragon King couldn't hide his surprise. His performance at that time didn't seem to be fake. But he can't become a strong amateur first pin fighter in just 4 months, right? That's King unbelievable. It's possible. Maybe he has a supernatural ability. But a 4-month-old rookie fighter can defeat a bunch of masters. If Master Road knew, he would be so angry that he would vomit blood. A plumber eating mushrooms replied. Unparalleled Dragon King still didn't believe it. I've checked and there's no information about him. Let me see if I can ask my classmates in Songqing University. In the midst of the shock, Brahman said with a laugh. I didn't expect that my new idol would have such a silly past. I want to preserve it. I want to appreciate it again and again. I want to make it into an emoji pack. If he really becomes a famous fighter in the future, this will be a black history, a stain in my life. Damn. She even dug up this. Lu Cheng's mouth twitched. He always felt that this black history of laughing passerby would accompany him for life. He spent the whole night browsing the forum, chatting with Yenjika, replying to the messages that he didn't have time to care about, and watching funny videos. He relaxed his body and mind as if he was on vacation. The next morning, after returning from training, Lu Qing still watched Yi Yaoting's competition videos to find relevant information. This was the habit of a fighter. No matter what, he couldn't lose too badly, right? As the Spring Festival was approaching, more and more units and companies were on holiday. The majority of the spectators who went to watch the challenge tournament at Yanling Martial Arts Stadium were no longer students on winter vacation. Somewhere in the stands, there were 2 girls. One of them was wearing the Iya Martial Arts School's training suit with a ponytail. She was looking around excitedly with a trumpet in her hand. The girl next to her was petite, perhaps only a little more than 1.5 meters tall. She had a pretty face and was engrossed in playing with her phone. Her ears were completely oblivious to what was happening outside. The girl with the ponytail turned around and saw that her companion was not interested in the atmosphere of the competition. She suddenly shouted, "Yan Shaoling." The petite girl shivered instinctively and looked up at her companion blankly. What? Look at you. How many days have you been on holiday? Every day you stay in bed playing with your mobile phone. I asked you to go shopping with me, you didn't eat with me, and you didn't come to watch the martial arts competition with me. It's like you're glued to your bed. Other than eating, drinking, and going to the toilet, how many days have you stayed in bed? The girl with the ponytail said. Yan Shaoling glanced at her companion and whispered, 5, 6, 7, 8 days. Her voice was tender, like a child talking. 5, 6, 7, 8 days. What do you mean by staying in bed during the holidays? Don't you think it's a waste of life? The girl with the ponytail was angry from being stood up again and again. Yan Shaoling didn't dare to look at her. I think it's a waste of life if I don't stay in bed. You still dare to say that? What are you going to do in the future? How are you going to find a boyfriend? If you have the ability, you can marry a mobile phone or a bed. The girl with the ponytail was exasperated. She looked into the distance angrily and pretended to ignore her. Yan Shaoling saw that her companion's gaze had turned to another direction. She stole a glance and turned around. She muttered word by word, if it is possible. What did you say? The girl with the ponytail suddenly turned her head. I didn't say anything. Yan Xiaoling's eyes were bright. Forget it, I'm too lazy to talk to you. Remember to cheer for my senior sister Yi later. The girl with the ponytail sighed. Okay, Yan Shaoling answered briskly. While the audience was waiting for the match, Yi Yaoting was exercising in one of the female locker rooms. Although you have no problem winning against Lu Cheng, don't be careless. Who knows what he will do next? Jiang Lan reminded her with a smile. In the morning match, she, Huang Zhenzhong, Li Xiaoyuan and Wang Yi were the first to enter the top 8. Don't worry, Sister Lan. I won't be careless at all. Thinking that a martial artist who has shocked everyone time and time again will be defeated by me, I feel very excited. Yi Yaoting answered excitedly. In a male locker room, Lu Cheng was holding his mobile phone. He sent a message to Yan Jika with a smile on his face. Only 5 minutes left before I cry bitterly. He amused himself and others with self-deprecation. You can't lose too badly, or I'll pretend not to know you when I see the video, Yan Jika replied with a magical expression of the pawn master. I'll try my best. Lu Cheng replied with a smile. After a while, he didn't log out of QQ. He put away his mobile phone, pushed open the door of the locker room and walked to the center ring. Before he got close, he saw Yi Yaoting waiting there. Her pink and white figure was as straight as a spear. Chapter 66. Handing the phone to the competition supervisor, Lu Cheng walked up the stone steps to the arena. Before he could stand still, his eyes were blinded by the flashes of the cameras. It seemed that many cameras were recording the scene just now. I thought the big boss would appear at the last moment. Lu Cheng was relaxed and made a joke during the conversation. To be honest, he was a little surprised that Yi Yaoting was waiting for him instead of him. It was not in line with her usual style. Yi Yaoting tied up her hair, showing her smooth forehead. She chuckled and said, Are you implying that you are the big boss? You can say that. After all, the big boss will be defeated by the protagonist. Lu Cheng answered with a smile, but in his heart, he was complaining about himself. This should be the state of mind of winning and being happy even if losing. The only problem was that he could only lose and not win. You are quite good at talking. Yi Yaoting was quite surprised, but soon her pretty face became serious. You made me lose 1,000 yuan. Lu Cheng was confused. What is this about? I bet on you to lose yesterday. Yi Yaoting's serious face suddenly showed a smile. But I don't care about that anymore. After I found out that my opponent was you, I felt full of motivation. There is nothing more exciting than defeating a martial artist who rises quickly. This is also to increase your life experience, so that you won't become arrogant and suffer more setbacks in the future. Lu Cheng was not moved at all by her deliberately old-fashioned words. He even wanted to laugh. According to the information, she should be the same age as him, but she directly chose the road of martial arts and did not go to college, just like most of the professional martial artists. Because of this, people like Peng Liyun, Ren Li, Lin Ke, and Li Xiaoyuan were the center of attention in the martial arts circle in college. Speaking in this tone at her age, Didn't she feel that it was too obvious that she was acting? I think I have always been modest and never arrogant. Lu Qing tried to make his eyes look sincere. Yi Yaoting did not expect him to be so good-tempered. She could not continue with the planned provocation, so she bit her lips and said, "Anyway, I will let you know the gap between you and a real professional ninth pin fighter. I am looking forward to it." Lu Qing smiled and showed 8 teeth. His expression was leisurely, without any emotion. He stopped talking and began to put away his distracting thoughts. He adjusted his body and moved his muscles slightly, pushing the state away bit by bit. Although the gap between him and his opponent was indeed very large, and he had already tacitly agreed to lose, since he had stepped onto the arena, he had to give it his all and display everything he had learned. He had to live up to the name of a martial artist. Time passed quickly. The referee raised his right hand and swung it down heavily. "Begin." Before he could finish his words, the surrounding stands burst into cheers and shouts. The names of Yi Yaoting and Lu Qing reverberated throughout the martial arts arena. "Senior Sister Yi, you can do it." A girl with a ponytail imitated Yi Yaoting's style and screamed loudly. Yan Xiaoling, a girl with a childish face and a childish voice, was arranged to blow a small trumpet, exactly like the elementary school students around her. Like a cheetah, Yi Yaoting instantly turned from a standstill to a sprint. She closed the distance between them in 2 or 3 steps and was about to raise her body like a fierce tiger waving its claws. Lu Qing knew that she not only had extraordinary strength, but also had an explosive unique skill, so he did not face her head-on. Instead, he shifted his center of gravity, bounced his waist and back, and shot to the side like lightning. As a professional ninth pin fighter, Yi Yaoting had already mastered meditation in order to reach the Danqi stage. Although she had not fully mastered it, she also practiced martial arts similar to Yin Yang stance and lightning and fire stance. Seeing that Lu Qing dodged, she twisted her waist and back, adjusted her muscles, and easily changed her direction in high speed. She directly chased behind Lu Qing without any sluggishness or difficulty, which made those who knew martial arts admire her. Her speed was much faster than Lu Qing. In a breath, Lu Qing heard the movement symbolizing danger. He was shocked and immediately took a step to the left. As soon as he took a step, his spine was like a dragon waking up, suddenly bouncing and pulling back his muscles. He forcibly changed his direction and dodged to the right, trying to get rid of Yi Yaoting. Yi Yaoting kicked out her left foot, which seemed to have been shaken by Lu Qing. However, her whole leg suddenly straightened and hit the ground, creating an oblique recoil force. She twisted her body and caught up with Lu Qing in a flash. She raised her right arm and threw a downward punch, which sounded like a tiger's roar, majestic and awe-inspiring. Facing such a blow, it was too late for Lu Qing to shift his center of gravity, so he had to lower his body quickly and throw a diagonal punch with his right fist like a giant hammer. In his mind, he had already imagined the scene of lightning falling from the sky and igniting a prairie fire. His whole body seemed to be surging with hot currents. Yi Yaoting's extraordinary strength and explosive power were still fresh in his memory, so he did not dare to be careless. Bang! In a muffled sound, Lu Qing blocked Yi Yaoting's attack, but his body seemed to be hit by a giant tree. From his arms to the tips of his feet, he was slightly trembling. His center of gravity was shaken and he could not adjust his body for a while, feeling the suppression of strength. Yi Yaoting had already twisted her waist and back, twisting the strength of her whole body into one. She tightened her thighs and pulled out with a snap, sweeping toward Lu Qing's leg with a sharp wind. Lu Qing took a breath and quickly adjusted his muscles. He tightened his left leg and lifted it out, suddenly using the abrupt force to block Yi Yaoting's whip kick. In the sound of a snap, he only felt a pain in his calf bone. Although he was not injured, he couldn't wait to rub it. But reality did not give him the chance. Just as he steadied himself, Yi Yaoting punched him again. It was like a cannon that could open a mountain, but also like a fierce hammer. The crisp sound seemed to explode in his ears. When his left foot landed on the ground, Lu Qing's mind was struck by lightning and the snow-capped peak collapsed. He hurriedly raised his hands and barely blocked this punch. But under the explosion of strength, his body trembled again, like a person hiding in an ancient bell. Although the bell ringer outside did not directly hit him, after a loud bang, he was attacked by shock waves in all directions. He seemed to be on the verge of collapse and dizziness. Yi Yaoting seized the upper hand and did not let him go. She opened her arms and continuously slashed like a tiger, constantly scratching and beating. It was not beautiful, but it was absolutely terrifying. Bang, bang, bang. Lu Qing continued to parry with the mega avalanche and the lightning and fire stance. His physical strength had been exhausted after the first few blows. His Jindan began to rotate slowly, releasing a stream of heat to soothe his fatigue and provide him with an endless supply of energy. Only then could he barely hold on. In the stands, Jiang Lan was drinking yogurt. She was not moved by this situation at all. She only felt that it was natural. Waves of cheers were louder and louder in her ears. It seemed that with each hit of Yi Yaoting, the cheers were getting crazier and crazier. The enthusiasm seemed to break through the dome. Bang! 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 In the shouts one after another, Yi Yaoting attacked crazily. Lu Cheng's arms began to hurt and he gradually felt that he was out of breath. He was really out of breath. What a ferocious attack. Lu Cheng's chest was tight and he was about to be unable to resist. At this time, Yi Yaoting took a step back and immediately bounced forward. Her arms took advantage of the forward momentum and launched cannon punches at the same time. She wanted to overturn Lu Cheng with this attack. This was what it meant to oppress people with strength. Lu Cheng, who kept squeezing the Jindan for support, seemed to have reached a limit. His chest was so tight that it felt like it was drowned. He couldn't take a breath or release the strength. He could barely hold up his arms and couldn't effectively defend. However, his mind was calm, like the strange peace before suffocation. Only the visualized snow continued to roll down and collapse. At this time, he inexplicably looked into the Jindan in his lower abdomen. He saw that the bright and dreamy nebula suddenly expanded. Little ice crystals left the track and flew out of the ball, connecting with the visualized picture in his mind. That was hundreds of millions of pounds of snow falling from the towering peaks. That was a white torrent that could drown all traces of life. Changes happened after the limit. The rolling cold tide suddenly broke out and surged in Lu Cheng's body. The momentum seemed to be able to tear his internal organs apart, forcing him to change from a fight to a fight and launch a punch. Bang! The snow mountain collapsed. Everything was white. Lu Cheng blocked two punches with his whip and collided with Yi Yaoting's attack. Bang! With a muffled sound, two figures separated. It was Yi Yaoting who retreated. In the stands, Jiang Lan, Li Xiaoyuan and the others stood up suddenly. The audience was silent. Lu Cheng saw Yi Yaoting's shocked expression, but he couldn't control the avalanche torrent in his body. He took a step forward and compressed all his muscles. In an instant, he launched a blast punch with his left hand. Yi Yaoting hurriedly stabilized her center of gravity and blocked the blow with a horizontal hammer. Just as they collided, she took a step back with her left foot to neutralize some of the force. She still remembered the previous collision and felt that the strength was much stronger than her. Therefore, although she was shocked, she didn't dare to underestimate him anymore. How could this be? Where did he get such terrifying strength? He was forced into such a situation. How could he burst out such strength like a primitive giant beast? Bang! Yi Yaoting's arm went numb. She couldn't neutralize all the force by taking a step back, so she had to take another step back. But before she could stand firm, her eyes reflected the image of Lu Cheng approaching her and hitting her sideways with his elbow. Yi Yaoting took a short breath. In her mind, she thought of a flood breaking through a dam. She bounced forward instead of retreating. She burst out all the strength in her body and hit Lu Cheng hard. Bang! The sound of the collision was much louder than before, and it seemed to reverberate in the hearts of every spectator, causing them to involuntarily tremble. Yi Yaoting blocked the blow, but her body was trembling as if she was having a cold war. In the horrified eyes of the audience, Lu Qing took advantage of the situation and hit her hard with a whip punch. She directly opened her stance. The avalanche momentum was unstoppable. The cold current in Lu Cheng's body dissipated a lot, but there was still some left. The muscles of his left leg tightened. He was about to launch a whip kick to defeat Yi Yaoting completely. At this moment, his body was pressed and trembled, which made him lose his momentum. He turned his head and found the referee. The referee raised his right hand and announced loudly, "Lu Qing wins." Lu Qing wins? All this was so dreamy and so fake, even in Lu Cheng's eyes. Yi Yaoting didn't stop trembling. She smiled bitterly with some fear. "So I'm not the protagonist." Lu Qing didn't answer because he felt like he was going to die. The cold dissipated. The Jin Dan was out of balance and threw out a few flames, which made him feel like he was burning. His forehead was hot and his cheeks were abnormally red. "Thanks for the match." He spat out 2 words with difficulty. He took back his phone and hurried back to the locker room, leaving thousands of people in silence and professional martial artists who were like stone statues. In the locker room, Lu Qing went into the bathroom, put away his phone, took off his clothes and turned on the cold water. The cold water sprinkled on the surface of his body, but Lu Cheng's burning heat didn't diminish at all. This reminded him of the burnt black carp, which made him groan in pain. "Damn, this backfire is too horrible. Will I die here?" Chapter 67. The showerhead kept spewing out cold water, chilling him to the bone and heart. In the dead of winter, it was enough to make any normal person retreat. However, in Lu Cheng's senses, it was like a life-saving straw that could slightly extinguish the burning in him. He only felt that his body was hot and dry. His lungs were like bellows. Every breath was like spurting flames. His head was getting hotter and hotter, and his consciousness was getting more and more blurred. He instinctively curled up and put his body completely in the range of the cold water. In the small cabinet next to him, his mobile phone flashed. The locked screen showed that there was a message, temporarily illuminating the darkness. In the martial arts hall outside the locker room, the strange silence continued. No one dared to believe their own eyes, and no one was willing to doubt their own common sense. The ignorant children were affected by the surrounding situation. They subconsciously felt scared and didn't dare to play with things like the trumpet anymore. Jiang Lan stood in the guest seat, looking at Yi Yaoting, who was still trembling. Her eyes were full of astonishment and shock. The yogurt bottle in her hand was almost crushed by her. In yesterday's battle, Lu Qing defeating Zhou Yuaning was within her expectation. It could only be said that it was slightly beyond her expectation. But the battle just now had really subverted her cognition. With her martial arts experience and insight, the possibility of Lu Qing defeating Yi Yaoting was only 1%. And this was based on the premise that Yi Yaoting was not in a good state, arrogant and careless. But the reality taught her a lesson. Did he take some elixir or a newly developed foreign stimulant? No, if so, he wouldn't have fallen into an absolute disadvantage at the beginning. He would not have been beaten by Yi Yaoting until he was on the verge of defeat. Countless thoughts flashed through her mind. She saw Yi Yaoting's lonely figure leaving the ring and walking to the female locker room. She sighed with concern in her eyes. Without thinking about anything else, she rushed to comfort her best friend. Seeing Jiang Lan hurriedly passing by in front of them, Wang Yi and Li Xiaoyuan, the 2 stone bodhisattvas, finally came to their senses. This is not right. Wang Yi muttered to himself with a fluctuating expression. If Lu Qing could break out such a horrible fighting force in a desperate situation, how could he beat him before? But everything in front of them wasn't an illusion. Yi Yaoting had obviously tried her best and wasn't faking it. The power that Lu Qing displayed was so real in the eyes of professional martial artists like them. It was as if they were witnessing the arrival of an avalanche, making them shudder. I don't think that makes sense either. Li Xiaoyuan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Wang Yi took a deep breath and showed a thoughtful expression. What do you think happened? Li Xiaoyuan thought about it seriously and said, according to the third-rate novels I've read, Lu Qing must have broken through himself under pressure in a desperate situation and awakened some amazing supernatural ability. It's possible. Wang Yi was silent for a few seconds before nodding slightly. Li Xiaoyuan's mouth twitched. I'm just kidding, it's really possible. Wang Yi looked at him seriously. For a moment, Li Xiaoyuan was actually speechless. With his senses blurred, Lu Qing felt that everything around him had become extremely distant and could no longer be touched. All the movements seemed to come from the sky, so ethereal that they disappeared in a flash. Flames seemed to be surging in his body, boiling his blood and burning his internal organs, which made him so uncomfortable and so unbearable. Most of the thoughts faded away like a tide, leaving only a few struggling to hold on and on the verge of fainting. Am I really going to die? No, I have to get up and go to see a doctor. I can't die here. Hallucinatory scenes kept appearing in his mind. There was the carefree happiness when he was young, the suffering of family difficulties when he started studying, the heartache when he looked at his mother's tired back, the sadness when he heard that his father was wronged outside, and the ecstasy when Yan Zhika cheered for him for the first time. Suddenly, the phone rang and the small cabinet kept vibrating. It seemed that someone was worried and anxious far away. Lu Qing heard the sound, but it was like a nightmare. No matter how hard he struggled, he was still curled up under the cold water. Am I really going to die here? In the women's locker room, Yi Yaoting sat quietly on the bench. Her tied hair was messy and hung down on both sides, covering her expression. Only a pair of black and white eyes that were blank and lost could be seen. Her body was still slightly trembling. Jiang Lan just walked in and saw such a scene. She was slightly distressed and said, "Something must have happened to that guy." "It's not your problem." Yi Yaoting raised her head, her black hair falling back, and her pale cheeks showing traces of green. She said in confusion, "I'm not sad." While speaking, she unbuttoned her tight sleeves and rolled them up, exposing her arms to Jiang Lan. There was a thin layer of white frost condensing there. The real white frost was evaporating. This. Jiang Lan sucked in a cold breath. In the stands, the weird, wide-range silence finally began to ease. Some people were cheering loudly, some were venting loudly, some were muttering to themselves, and some were cursing and swearing, thinking that Yi Yaoting and Lu Cheng were cooperating with the bookmakers to fake the fight. Yan Xiaoling, a girl with a childish face and a childish voice, looked at the arena with her mouth half open, still in a daze. The ponytailed girl recovered from the great shock and loss. She turned her head and saw her best friend's expression. She said in a bad mood, "Why are you opening your mouth so wide? I really want to put a piece of sh*t in your mouth." Ah. Yan Xiaoling suddenly closed her mouth, looking confused. Ah, senior sister Yi lost, senior sister Yi actually lost. The ponytailed girl whispered sadly to herself. Seeing this, Yan Xiaoling secretly turned her head and looked in the opposite direction, whispering to herself, "So fierce, so violent, so handsome. No, my maiden heart is acting up." She looked at the service desk, planning to ask for the details of the boy just now and go home to download his competition video and related news. As a member of the squirrel gang, collecting, classifying and saving is instinct. In the reporter's seats, someone finally woke up and showed an abnormal excitement, writing quickly, "The Phoenix Cup Warrior Sage Candidate Challenge Tournament is the biggest upset since the start of the tournament. The mysterious expert Lu Cheng is a dark hand." As if suffering for a long time, Lu Cheng felt a little better and had a clear perception of the surroundings and the outside world. He struggled to stand up, but found that he was still weak all over. His forehead and cheeks were still hot, but the burning feeling in his body was slowly dissipating. "I almost died." He turned off the tap and thought with lingering fear, "Fortunately, I didn't test the limit when I was training my endurance." He felt that he had been suffering for several days and nights, but when he moved to the cabinet, he found that only 20 minutes had passed. He picked up his phone and found that there were more than a dozen missed calls from Yan Zhika. She called almost every minute. She must be worried about losing contact after the competition. Lu Qing felt a burst of joy for no reason, as if he understood Yan Zhika's anxiety for him. This was an indescribable feeling, and the discomfort in his body seemed to be relieved a little. He struggled to dry his body, put on his underwear, and quickly called Yenjika back. "Hello, Cheng." Yenjika's voice was obviously anxious. "It's me." Lu Cheng felt that his voice was unbelievably hoarse. Yenjika was obviously relieved. "Fortunately, it's you. I was afraid that it would be an emergency call. You scared me to death, you know. Why didn't you answer the phone?" Her voice trembled as if she was about to cry. Lu Cheng was suddenly moved, his eyes slightly red, and his heart filled with joy. He said honestly, "I almost fainted just now, I just got over it. I thought I was imagining things. You didn't reply to my message just now, so I watched the video first. I found that your last outburst was too terrifying. I thought something must have happened to you, so I called you immediately. But you didn't answer. I was worried that you might have fainted and been sent to the emergency room. Or maybe you were just lying in the corner without anyone noticing. I was so worried that I even wanted to call the organizer," Yenjika said in one breath. Her voice was a little hoarse, not as soft and clear as usual. Fortunately, I got over it. Don't worry." Lu Cheng comforted Yenjika, his heart filled with warmth. Yenjika exhaled and said, "It's good that you got over it. How do you feel now?" "I feel like I'm sick and have a fever." Lu Cheng answered honestly. "Then why are you still on the phone? Go see a doctor." Yenjika yelled fiercely. Lu Cheng didn't feel that he was being yelled at. Instead, he felt inexplicably happy. "Yes, ma, am. Talk to you later. Go. Yenjika urged him. After hanging up the phone, Lu Cheng put on his coat, packed up a little, and walked to the emergency room. His feet were weak, as if he was walking on clouds. His head was dizzy, and his forehead and cheeks were still hot. Lu Cheng, Songqing University student, 18 years old, no rank. Wow, no rank. Yan Shaoling looked at the detailed information in her hand and kept exclaiming. The ponytail girl rolled her eyes. "I told you about him before, but you didn't listen at all." Hee. Yan Shaoling laughed, but didn't dare to answer. "What do you want to do with Lu Cheng's information?" the ponytail girl asked in confusion. Yan Shaoling nodded hard. "I kind of admire him. He was so cool and awesome just now. I want to set up a personal forum and post bar for him. I want to be his first fan. I want to go to Songqing University." "You're talking as if you can get in if you want to, you little love-struck fool." The ponytail girl calmed down and joked. In the emergency room, the doctor checked the thermometer and then looked at Lu Cheng as if he was looking at a monster. "You beat Yi Yaoting with a fever of 40 degrees. I'll give you an antipyretic injection and physical cooling, in case you become a fool from the fever," Lu Cheng answered weakly. "I got a high fever from the beating." "Huh, don't joke." The doctor laughed. "I'm not joking." Lu Cheng was speechless. Chapter 68. On the central ring, the singing and dancing performances were in full swing. However, the audience's reaction was quite indifferent, as if they were still immersed in the previous match. Zheng and the others didn't completely recover until now. They looked at each other and found the remaining shock in each other's eyes. "Every time I thought I knew Lu Cheng's limit, but every time I saw him break it," one of the companions said incoherently. "Yeah, every time there is a surprise, every time there is a shock. It reminds me of the days when the Warrior Sage and the Dragon King debuted." Zheng rubbed his forehead. His companions sighed with emotion. In the end, they gave Zheng a thumbs up, praising him for his good foresight. He had found Lu Cheng, the dark horse that couldn't be darker, and had always maintained his confidence and never wavered. "Huh, Zheng, you bet again, right? How much did you win? Shouldn't you treat us to a meal?" one of his companions joked. Zheng's face changed slightly and he smiled bitterly. "I bet Yi Yaoting would win, Ah? His companions looked at Zheng with a funny and surprised expression. Zheng sighed. I'm not a fortune teller. Before the match, who the hell would have thought that Lu Cheng would beat Yi Yaoting? He couldn't help but curse, venting the various emotions in his heart. Lu Cheng had no idea what the audience outside was like. He was lying on the bed in the emergency room with a normal saline drip, waiting for the doctor to check whether his fever had subsided. He held the phone in his right hand and turned on the camera function. He took a picture of his left hand in the drip and then logged into QQ and sent it to Yen Jika with a pitiful emoji. I haven't experienced it in 5 or 6 years. Lu Cheng had been healthy since he was a child, especially after he started to develop. He only had a small cold and fever which could be cured quickly with some medicine. There was no need for injections or drips. He hadn't experienced the feeling of being pricked for many years. Yen Jika replied with an emoji wiping cold sweat. I just had a drip last year, but it's much better than when I was a child. Before I started practicing martial arts, I had to go to the hospital every 2 or 3 weeks. It took me 3 years to get healthy. You haven't seen my pictures in junior high school and elementary school. I was so sick. Now I'm barely catching up to the standard of a normal person. I really want to see your junior high school and elementary school photos. You must be very, very cute. Lu Cheng's dizziness didn't stop him from flirting with her again. TSK, you're still exaggerating when you're on an 4 drip. How do you feel now? Yen Jika asked with concern. Lu Cheng thought for a while and pressed the keyboard with one hand. My fever seems to have subsided a little. It's not that hot anymore. But my body is very weak and my head is very dizzy. Yen Jika giggled. Hello, Lu Daiyu. After that, she asked with a bright eyes emoji, oh right, what happened when you were competing with Yi Yaoting? How could he erupt with such power? She seemed to have been holding back this question for a long time. After confirming that Lu Cheng was getting better, she finally asked. Lu Cheng had been thinking about how to explain this matter to Yen Jika. At this time, he sent an emoji of shaking his head with a fist clenched and tears running down his face. I didn't want this to happen. It was all an accident. At that time, I just wanted to lose in a decent way, so I tried my best to hold on. I kept squeezing my body and held on for as long as I could. As you know, my physical strength is at an abnormal level. I have never reached my limit. But this time, I finally reached my limit. Then, I felt like something inside my body had exploded. A terrible power broke out, forcing me to attack and defeat Yi Yaoting. When this power was released, I felt that my whole body was hollowed out. I almost fainted on the spot. You can see that at the end of the video, my face should be very ugly or abnormally flushed. Most of what he said was true. He just replaced the Jindan with physical strength to cover it up. Yen Jika sent an emoji of knocking on the head and scolding. You won't die if you don't ask for it. People develop their talents and supernatural abilities step by step, for fear of losing control. Just like Wang Xiaoshuang, the disciple with supernatural abilities in Daxing Temple, who burned down several houses because he lost control of his supernatural ability. That was why he was sent to Daxing Temple to meditate and control his mind. Why did you push your physical strength to the limit? Now you know the consequences, right? I know. Coach Yen is right. With this experience, I won't do it again. Lu Cheng was full of warmth after being scolded, so he quickly agreed. It was really a happy thing to feel the concern of the girl he loved. And with this experience of almost dying, he really didn't dare to affect the Jindan like this again. He had to find a better and safer way to digest it. Yen Jika sent an emoji of a cat holding a dried fish. It's good that you understand. I'll see if I can get some information from my grandpa on how to develop talents or supernatural abilities step by step. If it doesn't work, you can only turn to Coach Shi. He seems to have a strong background. He must know something. Coach Yen is so nice. Lu Cheng replied with an emoji of an evil smile. He felt his eyelids were heavy and tiredness kept surging. He wanted to sleep like this, so he added, if I don't reply later, I must be too tired to sleep. Don't worry. Humph, I'm not worried. I was just scared by you. Yenjika used an emoji of a stunned dog to talk about her previous feelings. At first, when you were suppressed by Yi Yaoding, I thought it was quite normal. I was thinking about how to make fun of you while watching. But then you suddenly exploded. It was like completing the Super Saiyan transformation. I was so surprised that I couldn't blink for a long time. When I came back to myself, I began to feel that something was wrong. This is not a manga. How can such an explosion not cost anything? So I called you immediately. Lu Qing felt weak and tired, so his typing speed naturally slowed down. After reading this message, before he could type a few words, Yenjika continued with an emoji of a sighing onion. Poor Miss Yi. She must have suffered a big blow. Who would have thought that she would lose? Even you. Life is full of surprises. I've completed a small miracle. The fund to treat you to a big meal is increased by 10,000 yuan. Thinking of the beautiful result, Lu Cheng's mood became better. Then I'll eat you out of money. Yenjika used a cute emoji of a bowl of noodles. I'll let you eat for a lifetime. Lu Cheng replied silently. By the way, Cheng, did you get a ticket? Yenjika changed the topic and mentioned the urgent matter related to Lu Cheng's return home. Lu Cheng suddenly woke up. Damn, I almost forgot about this. You don't have the energy to wait for a ticket in your current condition. Give me your ID number. I'll help you get it. Yenjika sent a praise me emoji. Lu Cheng was ecstatic and said hurriedly, Yenjika is so beautiful and kind. Give me your Alipay account number. I'll transfer the ticket money to you first. If it's not enough, I'll give you more. After chatting for a while, he fell asleep unconsciously. All kinds of strange and unusual scenes flashed in his dream, but they all passed quickly without leaving any trace. When Lu Cheng woke up, it was almost 5 o'clock. His head was still a little dizzy and his body was still weak, but his fever had almost subsided. His forehead and cheeks were no longer burning. This is the 10,000 yuan prize for the quarterfinals. The organizer sent it directly after knowing that you were here. The doctor handed over a stack of 100 yuan notes. Lu Cheng exhaled and scratched his head. I forgot about it. Sorry to trouble you. You're welcome. Your opponent in the quarterfinals is Bai Song. Do your best and create another miracle. The doctor clenched his fist and waved his arm. Lu Cheng was stunned. After taking a taxi back to the hotel, Lu Cheng had no appetite at all. After taking the medicine, he lay on the bed and chatted with Yenjika for a while. Then he fell asleep again. He slept until 7:30 the next morning, missing the morning exercise for the first time. His head was clear again, as if he had finally walked out of a serious illness. He first tried to meditate and check his body internally to see if there were any hidden problems. Then he logged on QQ and saw Yenjika's proud emoji pushing up her glasses. I got a ticket for you. It's 11:40. You should be in time for the match. But I don't think you can compete. You were so sick yesterday. Coach Yen is so straightforward. I guess I have to give up. Lu Cheng replied with a wronged emoji. Yenjika said in a daze, how's your body? My fever is completely gone. I also feel hungry, but my muscles are still very sore. I don't have much strength. I can barely carry my luggage and walk, let alone compete. Lu Cheng felt like he was suffering from a minor illness after a major illness was gone. Currently, he was showing symptoms of a cold. Good, good. You predicted that you would lose yesterday. It's very decent that you can hold on until today. Yenjika comforted him. After chatting for a while, Lu Cheng got up and washed up. He saw his haggard face in the mirror. He looked at himself for a minute and suddenly raised his right hand. He rubbed his thumb and index finger and a small flame appeared. This was the result of his introspection. He found that the remaining heat of the Jindan flame seemed to have completely integrated into his body. Of course, the power was small and useless. This is nothing. Lu Qing smiled and said to himself in the mirror, "Congratulations, you've awakened the supernatural ability lighter. A supernatural ability that can only light a cigarette." He blew out the flickering flame with a puff of air. However, he could use it to surprise Yen Zhika with a magic show or something. Anyway, everyone was used to supernatural abilities. Yen Zhika had experienced what had happened to him yesterday, so she should be mentally prepared for the awakening of supernatural abilities. After packing his luggage, Lu Qing put on his backpack and checked out at the front desk. He then took a taxi to Yanling Martial Arts Club. "Is your supervisor here?" he asked the girl at the reception desk, Ling Ning. Ling Ning was confused. "Why do you want to see the supervisor?" Her eyes were full of awe, not as lively and friendly as before. A martial artist who could defeat Yi Yaoting under the age of 20 always seemed so unreachable. Lu Qing thanked her for her support and said with a smile, "I used the secret method to stimulate my potential in yesterday's battle and got backfired. I couldn't take it anymore and had to give up." Oh, I see." Ling Ning's eyes were full of realization as if she had solved the biggest doubt in her heart. Then she led Lu Qing to the supervisor. "You want to give up?" The supervisor seemed to have expected this and asked calmly. Lu Qing repeated his explanation and said at the end, "If I can fight, I'm willing to give it a try." The person in charge of the competition chuckled. "Yesterday, when I saw you in the emergency room, I already guessed that this would be the result. Of course, according to the procedure, I still have to find someone to check on you. I can't just believe whatever you say, right?" He called 2 masters in the Danxi state, including Lu Zuanyu's head bodyguard, Old Sheng. They gave Lu Qing a rough check and confirmed his physical condition. Carrying his luggage, Lu Qing walked to the gate of the martial arts club. When he was about to step out, he suddenly had an inexplicable feeling. This gate was the gate to becoming a real martial artist. The first time he stepped in here and the one who was about to leave completely changed him. He looked back at the martial arts club again and again. In his mind flashed all the matches and cheers he had experienced, and the glorious road he had stepped on again and again. Yanling, one of the most important stations in life. The sentimental feeling lingered in his heart. Lu Qing was still immersed in it until he got into a taxi. "Hey, are you leaving now? Don't you want to watch the rest of the matches?" The taxi driver was a very talkative uncle. He asked casually. Lu Qing was a very polite person. Although he didn't want to chat, he still replied, "I have to go home. If I don't go back, I'll be scolded. It's been a few days." He swiped his thumb to unlock his phone and thought about what he should do next. Yen Zhika had to practice martial arts in the morning and couldn't chat. What a pity. The rest of the matches will be more exciting than the last. The middle-aged driver said excitedly, "Let me tell you something. There is a dark horse in this competition. He is very powerful. His name is Lu Qing. He even defeated Yi Yaoting from Yi Martial Arts Club. Maybe he can make another surprise today and defeat by song. Let me tell you, I bet a lot of money on him. He's going to make a fortune." Lu Qing was dumbfounded and quietly released his fingers. He had just opened his contact list and was about to call Geezershire. "Hey, what's wrong with you?" The driver uncle glanced at him. Lu Qing forced a smile and said, "I'm not feeling well, I'd better call him when I get to the train station." In a relatively clean bedroom, Yan Shaoling woke up. Yesterday, she was dragged by her best friend to go shopping. When she came back, she was so tired that she didn't do what she had planned. Now it was time to start. She searched and found that the name Lu Qing was very rare. There was no personal post bar or forum. So she clicked to create a new forum where there were many forums such as Longhu Club. She chose the category, Martial Artist. Forum name, Lu Qing. Nature, personal. A series of information appeared in front of Yan Shaoling. She skimmed through it and smiled in a low voice, "Hey, I'll be the first fan." After that, she pressed the blue box. Start creating. Chapter 69. After a click, a blank forum appeared in front of Yan Xiaoling's eyes, except for the words, Lu Cheng, in the upper left corner, Eternal Nightfall, for the intern moderator, 1 for the number of followers, and so on. As the founder of the forum, her ID became an intern moderator. She would become an official moderator in a week if there were no major problems. Lu Cheng's first home on the internet. I'm going to start decorating it, Yan Xiaoling cheered in a low voice. She first used the picture of Lu Cheng downloaded from the official website as the background image of the forum name. Then she posted several posts in one go. Reporting post, I'm a fan of Lu Cheng. Competition video post. Life photo post. She sorted them one by one and was about to insert the videos, photos, and related reports downloaded from the official website into the corresponding post. However, on second thought, she frowned and felt wronged. This isn't right. It's impossible for Lu Cheng to not participate in other competitions in the future. It's too hard to find videos and photos in one post. After thinking about it, she reluctantly deleted the previous post and reposted it. She was quite serious and responsible. First Phoenix Cup Warrior Sage Candidate Challenge Tournament Video Post. First Phoenix Cup Warrior Sage Candidate Challenge Tournament Photo Post. First Phoenix Cup Warrior Sage Candidate Challenge Tournament Related News Post. Lu Cheng's daily life in January. She sent the content she had collected from the official website to the corresponding posts. After adding highlights to each post, she saved them in the cloud drive. Satisfied, she picked up the soy milk beside her and took a sip. Then she clicked into the reporting post to reply, I'm Lu Cheng's first fan, and finish all her work for the day. At this moment, Yan Xiaoling saw something that didn't belong to her appear on the second page of the reporting post. I'm Lu Cheng's first fan. Who? Yan Xiaoling felt like a thief had broken into her house. She opened her eyes wide and found that the owner was a person named Brahman. This is the forum I created. She replied bitterly. She hated that she had to drink the soy milk before continuing. Now someone else had taken the lead. Brahman did not reply. It was as if she had left quietly after snatching the first place. Yan Xiaoling was wondering if she should use her power to delete the post on the second floor and pretend that she was still the first fan. Her hand slipped and she returned to the forum's homepage. But this time, she was so angry that her lungs almost exploded, because there were a few more topic posts on the front page. That guy named Brahman was actually flooding the front page to question her. Why are you stealing my new idol's forum? The one called Eternal Nightfall, come out and take responsibility for your own actions. I should be the one to build it. I feel wronged, I feel sad, I feel bitter. Yan Xiaoling muttered a few words to calm herself down so that her temper wouldn't explode. Then, she replied in the form of a thread, first come, first served. My Lu Cheng is the winner of the Warrior Sage Challenge Tournament. Who's the new idol you're talking about? It's also Lu Cheng in the Warrior Sage Challenge Tournament. But I made him my new idol in the third round of the tournament, so it's definitely earlier than you. Brahman didn't back down and started arguing about who was Lu Cheng's #1 fan. Yan Xiaoling suddenly laughed. Her anger was all gone. She replied proudly, so what? Anyway, I built the forum. Why didn't you do it earlier? There was no new post for a whole minute. Yan Xiaoling thought that she had finally completed the training of her poisonous tongue and made the other party run away with one sentence. She was about to praise herself when she saw Brahman's post again. So what if you built the forum? Do you have this picture? Picture? What picture? Yan Xiaoling clicked in and saw a screenshot of a video with two guys laughing foolishly. One of them. Hey, isn't that Lu Cheng? Why do you have this picture of him? Yan Xiaoling asked with a shocked expression. Brahman smiled proudly, don't you know? This is the picture of Lu Cheng's dark history that only senior fans can find. Yan Shaoling searched for the picture for a while but did not find the source. She was very curious and had to act like a lackey. She asked Brahman in a low voice, "Well, you're indeed more senior than me. I won't delete your second post. Can you tell me where this picture came from? You want me to tell you just like that? I need to think about whether you should call me senior or master." Brahman put on airs. Yan Shaoling replied without hesitation, "Dad." Brahman was stunned for a while and said, "Where's your dignity? Where's your moral integrity? Dad, I don't have these two things. Just tell me." Yan Shaoling felt that she was a girl who was not pretentious at all. Brahman wiped the cold sweat. Okay, I'll send you the link. When you become the official moderator, let me be the deputy moderator. Roar, roar, roar. Yan Shaoling clicked to watch the video. After the beginning, she hurried back to share her feelings with Brahman. I didn't expect Lu Qing to be so silly. Well, I feel that this silly Lu Qing must be a very warm and considerate boy. I think so too. And he's very mysterious and cool. Brahman agreed. Well, Lu Qing withdrew from the competition. I saw the news of his withdrawal and thought that there would be no news of him before next year's university martial arts competition. So I thought to set up a forum as a memorial. I didn't expect you to be faster than me, Yan Shaoling replied with an emoji of spinning in circles. When I was collecting information, I saw it on the official website. He fought so hard yesterday. He must be exhausted. The two girls started to talk about Lu Qing. The more they talked, the more congenial they became. In the end, Yan Shaoling asked, "Do you think Lu Qing will find this forum? Secretly browsing here? I don't think so. Who would search for their own name except for those who just went online? By the time he thinks he may have a private forum, he should have become a famous fighter." Brahman tried to sound like an elder sister. She always felt that Eternal Nightfall was younger than her. Yan Shaoling closed her eyes and replied dreamily, "By the time he discovers this place, the forum will have a lot of fans. I've also silently built many posts for him and collected a lot of information to make this place more and more like his home on the internet. Thinking about it, it's a very warm and touching thing. When he sees the time of our first post, he will be surprised to find that there are two people who have supported him silently for so many years, from the beginning until he became famous." Brahman also echoed in a romantic tone unique to girls. A small forum, a small girl, a small warmth. Outside the train station, Lu Qing wiped his cold sweat and quickly left the taxi to the entrance of the security check. "Uncle, I don't want to let you make no money." After passing through the security check, he found a relatively quiet corner. He pulled up his contact list and called his master. It's time to tell him the good news. Although his master's foresight was definitely better than his, and he could see his potential and predict that he might be able to pass the early elimination round and enter the group stage, whether it was defeating Zhou Yuaning or defeating Yi Yaoting with the help of the Jin Dan, they were both achievements that even he himself couldn't believe. Therefore, the top 8 was enough to surprise him. Lu Qing couldn't help showing off a little when the phone rang, looking forward to his master's reaction. On the balcony bathed in the golden sunlight, Geyser narrowed his eyes and drank a little wine, enjoying the rare warmth and brilliance in winter. Buzz buzz buzz. The phone beside him vibrated. Without turning his head or looking, he said, "You finally got the courage, you little brat." The phone on the table disappeared and suddenly appeared in his hand. "Brat, you just called me today?" Geyser chose to answer and said with a smile. Lu Qing laughed, "How dare I call you if I don't get a good ranking?" "That's right, no matter what, we have to wait until the rankings are settled before we fight." "Didn't dare to call because I didn't get a good ranking? How many days did I wait before I got the courage?" Geyser nodded slightly and said jokingly, "Now you know how many martial artists there are in the world. Do you know that there are countless martial artists at the same level as you? Tell me the truth, which round are you in?" After that, he took a sip of wine. "Why does my master's words sound weird?" Lu Qing didn't have time to think about it and said proudly, "8th place." The contestant who gave up was ranked last among all the martial artists in the round. Puff! The wine in Geyser's mouth flew out and turned into snowflakes. What did you say? 8th place? His hoarse voice raised a lot. Lu Cheng took the phone away from his ear and felt his master's surprise. He answered with a smile, yeah, I tried my best and finally got into the top 8. But I also gave up because I overworked my body. I smiled proudly. This is not a surprise, this is a shock. Geyser wanted to get to the bottom of it, but on second thought, he couldn't ask directly in order to maintain his master's image and dignity in front of Lu Cheng. He had to ask someone else. He coughed and said, you did well. Keep it up. I know you have a lot of questions to ask, but I happen to have something to do. I'll get back to you when I'm done. Okay, master. Lu Cheng was so proud that his voice became lighter. In a secluded office in the martial arts stadium of Yanling. The bodyguard Old Sheng looked at the chairman Lu Zunyu behind the desk and asked in confusion, you let Lu Cheng go just like that? He was an upset in the last round and forfeited this round. No matter what the truth is, it has created a gambling problem. At the very least, we should do a comprehensive examination. Moreover, he has great potential. Why not take this opportunity to recruit him? Lu Zunyu crossed his fingers and smiled. Do you know who got the invitation for him? Ah. Old Sheng was stunned. At this moment, Lu Zunyu's personal phone buzzed. He glanced at it and hurriedly picked it up, motioning Old Sheng to go out first. Hello, Senior Shi. Why did you call me personally? If you need anything, you can just ask me. Lu Zunyu's tone was quite respectful. Geyser chuckled. My good-for-nothing disciple participated in your challenge tournament. As a master, I have to show some concern. I was busy before, but now that I have the time, tell me about his performance. Your disciple is really a dragon among men. His potential is limitless. Lu Zunyu praised first. He defeated a full-arm boxing master of amateur 4th pin in the first round, a strong opponent of amateur 1st pin in the 3rd round. We arranged a walkover for him in the 5th round. In the last round of the group, he defeated a fighter of professional 9th pin. In the last round, he defeated a fighter of professional 9th pin. In the last round, he must have used your explosive secret skill, so he overdrew his body and had to give up in the quarterfinals. Geyser was silent for a while and said, why did you arrange a walkover for him? He is your disciple. We have to give him some face and take care of him. Lu Zunyu answered with a smile. Geyser's tone became serious. You should ask your elders. I used to be impartial and righteous. How could I do this kind of thing? If you want to give me face, you shouldn't have arranged a walkover for him. You should have arranged a fighter of professional 9th pin for him. Flattery went too far. Lu Zunyu was not too afraid of Geyser. After all, they were not from the same sect. He just wanted to make a good relationship with him. Therefore, the smooth and slick Geyser immediately apologized. His sincerity moved people who heard it. Forget it. It's already over. You can send a copy of his competition video to my email. Geyser's tone softened. Damn it, I've shot myself in the foot. How can I use my experience to teach that bastard a lesson? Chapter 70. While waiting for Geyser's call, Lu Cheng regained his appetite and found a fast food restaurant in the train station. He planned to show off in front of Kai Zhongming, but Kai Zhongming was not on QQ. He guessed that he was out with his girlfriend. He had to check the forum and found that in yesterday's discussion, the netizens were shocked by his victory over Yi Yaoding. Unparalleled Dragon King, who was known as the Human Database, said in a dreamy tone, I must find someone from Songqing University to ask about him. I don't believe that such a powerful person jumped out from a crack in a rock. Pig Riding Knight, an experienced and knowledgeable moderator, also said with emotion, if Lu Cheng was mysterious and strong at the beginning and played every match with ease, then his sudden burst of strength to defeat Yi Yaoding is not too surprising. At his age, Peng Liyun is already an 8th pin fighter. But in the few matches we watched, except for the match with Tang Yu, he gave people the feeling that he barely won the match with his full strength. Sometimes he almost lost. How could he have the strength to defeat Yi Yaoting? This is not the Super Saiyan transformation. He must be on drugs. That's boring. Although the rules allow it, what people want to see is the limit of the human body. Outspoken, who always disliked Lu Cheng, said firmly. Wonton Seller said in a weak voice, maybe it's the secret method to stimulate the potential. All the big inheritances don't lack such things. That's possible. But is it worth it for the 10,000 yuan prize? The repercussions of stimulating the potential are very serious. How can 10,000 yuan make up for it? A plumber eating mushrooms said with a thoughtful expression. My idol is young and impetuous. Can't he lose control of his emotions and choose to stimulate the potential? Brahman jumped out to defend Lu Cheng. Unparalleled Dragon King seemed to have recovered. That makes sense. It should be Yi Yaoting's crushing defeat that irritated Lu Cheng and made him use the forbidden move regardless of the consequences. Sigh, he was only one step away from becoming a real professional 9th pin fighter. Now, it's hard to say. Let's see if he can make up for it. Why bother? Then he will definitely withdraw from the competition tomorrow. Beautiful World said in a very happy tone. We can ask Little Fist to inform Master Road. Yi Yaoting has been defeated. It's not shameful for him to lose to Lu Cheng. It's better for him to come back quickly. Road to the arena quietly appeared. Actually, I've been lurking in the shadows. Damn it, I was scared to death by Lu Cheng defeating Yi Yaoting. I thought I was hallucinating after drinking with Little Fist all night. Huh, Master Road, with Yi Yaoting in front of you, no one will care that you lost to Lu Cheng. Welcome back. One by one, the forum members made similar gestures. Since there were no more forum members participating in the competition, not many people were paying attention to this matter. Today, when the officials announced that Lu Cheng had to withdraw from the competition due to the discomfort caused by the use of the secret method, the remaining few people felt sorry for him, gloated over his misfortune, and believed that Lu Cheng could create another miracle and recover quickly. However, none of this could save the live broadcast post from its fate. It soon fell into silence and sank into the depths of the forum. After thinking for a while, Lu Cheng copied the address of the post and saved it. This could be considered as another testimony to his first martial arts tournament. The top 8 out of the 8 or 900 people were truly 1 in 100. In the martial arts stadium of Yanling City, Yi Yaoting sat beside Jiang Lan, watching the fierce battle between Li Xiaoyuan and Wang Yi. Her face was still pale, but without the palpitating blue color. Are you okay? Jiang Lan drank a nutrient drink and asked. She had just entered the top 4. Yi Yaoting bared her teeth. My body is still a little weak, but I'm fine. I've thought it through. The world is big, and there are all kinds of strange things. There will always be all kinds of enemies. Who knows when an enemy will explode? Speaking of this, she paused, took a breath and said, but I'm still a little unreconciled. Sigh, after all, it's hard to be reconciled. He looked so easy to defeat. How did he suddenly become a horrible monster? One day, I'll get my face back. Jiang Lan thought for a while and said seriously, then you have to work harder. It only took Lu Cheng a few days to go from being a greenhorn at the beginning of the competition to being a mature and astute fighter. Plus, with his talent, as long as there aren't too many sequelae from yesterday's mutation, it shouldn't be a problem for him to reach the professional 9th pin at the end of the year. After seeing the frost on Yi Yaoting's arm, she was sure that Lu Cheng didn't use the secret method to stimulate his potential. Instead, his body had mutated, and it was very likely that he had awakened his supernatural ability. Phew. Yi Yaoting exhaled. In fact, I could have avoided it yesterday. After I suppressed him, if I didn't consider anything else, would have directly used the flood stance. With the maximum eruption, I could have finished the battle in a few moves. There was no time for him to mutate. Sigh, I'm still too fond of showing off. You're 19 years old now, but you're still childish. Jiang Lan laughed and scolded her. Yi Yaoting turned her head and looked at Jiang Lan. Her eyes were full of excitement. Sister Lan, didn't you ask me to redouble my efforts? I want to form a team and start from the preliminaries. Let's see how far we can go. This way, we can maximize the actual combat experience and digest the cultivation methods. In the future, we may even become the biggest martial arts organization in Yanling. Do you want to join? The professional martial arts circle was divided into 4 levels. The top level was composed of 12 big forces, including Shangqing Sect, Daxing Temple, and Longhu Club. Every year, the last one would be relegated to the next level, which indicated that they were in a weak state and had to share some of the benefits. The second stage was called the advancement competition. Similarly, there were 12 forces who could be considered as vassals of a region. This level of competition had the participation of the upper 3 ranks, and the main focus was Danqi. Every year, the first place would enter the highest stage. If they could maintain their position for a year without being sent back, it meant that they were strong enough to share some benefits. Similarly, the last 2 places would drop to the third stage. The third level was called the preliminary competition. There were 12 forces in the North and South Division, and the last 2 would be relegated to the 4th level. The 4th level was called the preliminary competition. Before the competition schedule was decided every year, all you had to do was organize a team and sign up. The division would be based on the number of participants. It was the beginner circle of professional martial arts. If Yi Yaoting and Jiang Lan joined, they could really go far in the preliminary competition. In that case, they would not only get a share of the income, but also a unique skill reward provided by the state. There were similar things in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th levels, so that they could really grow step by step and balance the old forces. Participate in the preliminary competition? Jiang Lan was stunned at first, but then a smile appeared on her face. Sounds interesting. I'll try it for a year. Yi Yaoting shook her fist and said happily, with you in our team, we can really grow stronger step by step. Maybe we can surpass my dad's martial arts club in the future. What should we call it? Well, I'll find a few more female fighters to join. We'll call it the Pretty Girls Squad. I'd better not join. Jiang Lan looked at her with disdain. Huh, just kidding, just kidding. Yi Yaoting laughed dryly. When the train was about to check in, Lu Qing finally got a call from Geysershire. I've watched your competition video. Not bad. You've mastered 24 blizzard strikes. You've also turned your talent in meditation, yin-yang stance, and condensation stance into listening skill and mercurial balance. You've achieved the main purpose of letting you join the challenge competition. Geysershire said in a hoarse voice. God pity me. This is not the line I prepared at the beginning. Lu Cheng was proud and happy. He replied with a smile, Master, thank you for giving me the opportunity. Otherwise, I don't know when I could reach this level. Not giving you the opportunity. Geysershire took a deep breath and said, your mastery of 24 blizzard strikes is good, but it also reveals many problems. Your foundation is too weak and your fighting style is too monotonous. After all, 24 blizzard strikes is not an all-encompassing and profound martial art. It has its own limitations and is not enough to deal with all situations. When you come back from school, I'll teach you a new fighting style. During this time, you should practice the big and small hand wrap to enrich your close combat options. I'll compile the videos and materials and send them to your email. I don't ask for profound knowledge, but I hope you can use it once or twice at critical moments. It's good enough to complement your listening skill. A new martial art at the beginning of school. Lu Cheng was very happy. He hurriedly said, okay. Geysershire was quite depressed. He went straight to the point. When you fought Yi Yaoting, others couldn't see it, but I saw it clearly. There was ice force. Did you awaken a supernatural ability related to frost? Well, although you may not believe it, I've awakened a supernatural ability related to fire. Lu Qing answered honestly. You can't blame me. I also don't think it's a big deal. There was silence on the other side of the phone. He couldn't hear Geysersher's breathing at all. After almost a minute, Geysersher coughed twice and said tiredly, then we'll talk about it when you come back from school. Ice Force? Awakening a supernatural ability related to fire? Are you kidding me? After hanging up the phone, Lu Qing was in a good mood. His weak body and half-blocked nose seemed to have relieved a lot of his flu symptoms. He followed the line, passed the ticket gate, boarded the train and found his seat. He was thinking about his supernatural ability. The supernatural ability of fire was purely a change caused by the backlash. When he squeezed the Gene Dan and used Ice Force, it caused an imbalance between the ice and fire in the Gene Dan and leaked some of the fire force. After a while, the remaining fire force merged with the cells and slightly changed his body. The ice force turned into a real, mega avalanche and hurt the opponent. Most of the ice force evaporated in the room temperature and didn't affect Yi Yaoting much. Now, the Gene Dan was still there and could still replenish his strength. After putting down his luggage, he sat down and looked at the passengers outside who were constantly looking for a carriage. Suddenly, he had a real feeling that he was going home. When he left Songqing University and stayed in the hotel in Yanling, he had been so focused on Yanzhika and the challenge tournament that he didn't have the urge to go home. But at this moment, sitting on the train on the way back, surrounded by other travelers like him, this kind of emotion suddenly burst out. Yes, after all, he was still an 18-year-old young man who had been away from his parents for half a year. Yes, he was born and raised in Shushan and had spent 18 years there. Most of his relatives and friends and most of his memories and experiences were there. How could he not miss home? How could he not miss home? What a wanderer in a foreign land yearned for was the warmth of home. He took out his phone, logged on QQ and sent a message to Yan Zhika who should still be practicing martial arts. Going home. Chapter 71. The sky was gloomy and the wind was chilly. Filled with excitement and joy, Lu Qing couldn't help but shiver as soon as he walked out of the train station. Unlike the strong wind, low temperature and dry cold in Yanling, the cold in Shushan was the kind that chilled him to the bone. It was a kind of inescapable cold that couldn't be resisted by the so-called airtight clothes. Besides, he was in a weak and sick state. Luckily I was smart enough to put on a coat before I got off the bus. Lu Qing praised and took out his phone. He took a picture of the familiar sky of Shushan and the landmark building in the distance, and sent it to Yanzhika with a smirk. Does it look familiar? Yanzhika replied with a dazed emoji. I suddenly miss home, just think of me as your substitute to go home and experience Shushan for you. Lu Qing replied with a proud smile. Bah, what are you talking about? Substitute Qing, are you prettier than me? Yanzhika replied with a, you know nothing about strength, emoji. While chatting, Lu Qing carried his luggage and declined a bunch of offers to take a taxi. He arrived at the bus stop and waited for the bus that would pass by his house on Route 82. Although he had 10,000 yuan in his backpack and a few hundred in his wallet, he had to be thrifty. Originally, he only had 5,000 yuan as a reward, so he planned to use the rest of it as a dating fund. But now that he had the 10,000 yuan reward for the top 8, he had a little idea. He planned to buy something for his parents during the new year. It would be the first real gift to surprise them. Bus 82 was crowded. Lu Qing controlled his center of gravity well with his yin-yang stance. He sat down and looked around to see if he could meet one or two classmates. Unfortunately, Shushan was a prefecture-level city. The population of the main city alone was in the hundreds of thousands. The number of classmates he knew, starting from kindergarten, was no more than 300. Compared to the former, Shushan was like a drop in the ocean. How could it be so easy to meet them? Unless he specifically went to certain places where certain people were bound to appear. The bus swayed and stopped. It drove to the non-commercial area of the old city. The surrounding buildings began to become shorter and less colorful. Lu Cheng got off at a stop sign at the entrance of a community. This was the place where he had lived for almost 10 years. Many of the outer walls of the buildings had been modeled, leaving traces of the merciless passage of time. This was the last glory of the company that his father first worked for. When it went bankrupt, he squeezed out the last of his family's savings and borrowed a lot of debt to buy the property rights. Most of the people living in the neighborhood were his father's former colleagues or co-workers. They had a good relationship with each other. Along the way, Lu Cheng frequently greeted them. This uncle had watched him grow up, and this auntie had helped him change his diapers. Before he stepped into the house, he could already feel the smell of home. Of course, this kind of neighborhood atmosphere was also a little bad. The 7 aunts and 8 aunts loved to gather together when they had nothing to do. If something happened to one family, the news would spread throughout the neighborhood. When he was about to reach building number 8, Lu Cheng saw a young man walking out from the entrance of the unit. He smiled and greeted him, "Brother Su." This young man was called Wang Su. He was Lu Cheng's kindergarten, elementary school, and junior high school classmate. In the normal sense, they were childhood friends. Their fathers used to work in the same technical department. They liked to play chess and brag together. Lu Cheng had a good relationship with him. However, during the years when the company was about to go bankrupt, everyone was in a panic. Everyone had a hard time. In a family, one had to leave home to work, while the other stayed at home to take care of the child. Conflicts broke out from time to time. This atmosphere also affected the children. Some began to lose interest in learning and wanted to earn money as soon as possible. Some followed the young workers in the factory and now the hooligans in the underworld. Gradually, they formed some gangs. Wang Su was tall and sturdy. He was a martial artist since childhood. Influenced by this atmosphere, he slowly went astray. In junior high school, he tried to please the PE teacher in order to learn martial arts. At the same time, he followed the hooligans to collect protection fees and participate in school gang fights. At that time, he was relatively simple. He would show off to Lu Cheng who he had beaten today and who he was going to fight tomorrow. With Lu Cheng's insight, he found that Wang Su was indeed talented. At the age of 14 or 15, he was already an amateur 9th pin fighter. Because of this childhood friend, Lu Cheng was able to concentrate on his studies in junior high school, where the overall learning atmosphere was very bad. He was not disturbed by the outside world and bullied by the hooligans. He was admitted to Shushan No. 1 middle school and completely got rid of this environment. From then on, he and Wang Su became strangers. He no longer knew anything about Wang Su. He only knew that Wang Su did not study in high school from time to time. He found that Wang Su seemed to be doing better and better, but there were more shallow scars on his face. The scar on Wang Su's left cheek was still faintly visible. He had neat short hair, wore an expensive long black leather coat, and wore a thick long gold chain that gave him the temperament of a nouveau riche. His features were no longer tender, and he no longer had the youthful look of an 18 or 19-year-old youth. "Hey, the college student is back." He was quite happy to see Lu Cheng. He took out a pack of cigarettes with English letters written on it from his pocket. "Come, have a smoke." "Good stuff. It was in such an atmosphere that I learned to smoke and drink." Lu Cheng thought and waved his hand. "I quit smoking now." Wang Su's face showed a trace of unhappiness, and his attitude became more indifferent. He lit a cigarette for himself and said, "It's different to study in college." To be honest, Lu Cheng used to be a good friend with him, but he was still a little afraid of him. But now, after the experience in the Warrior Sage Challenge tournament, he was no longer afraid of Wang Su. He looked straight into Wang Su's eyes and smiled gently. "I've quit smoking and drinking, but I haven't quit eating skewers and hot pot. Let's go for supper when you're free." Seeing that Lu Cheng didn't deliberately alienate him but was instead calm and generous, Wang Su's displeasure dissipated. Returning to his usual self, he chuckled and said, "Sure, let's go have skewers when I'm free." Cheng, why don't you quit smoking and drinking? What's the point of living then? Lu Cheng replied with a smile, I joined the martial arts club in college to strengthen my body. You know, practicing martial arts requires abstaining from smoking and drinking. Hearing this, Wang Su laughed loudly. You want to practice martial arts? When I'm free, I'll teach you a few moves. I guarantee that your martial arts will improve greatly during the winter break. I don't believe you can make me a professional ninth pin fighter. Maybe you can't even beat me. Lu Cheng complained silently. He pointed upstairs and said, I'm going home to see my parents first. Talk to you later. Okay, I'll bring a bottle of wine to your house. I haven't played chess with Uncle Lu for a long time. Wang Su and Lu Cheng lived in the same building and the same unit, but one was on the second floor and the other was on the fifth. After Wang Su graduated from junior high school, it was normal for him to be away from home for a week. Lu Cheng said, You haven't forgotten your chess skills? I've abandoned it long ago. Both of their fathers loved to play chess. Both of them were influenced since young and had inherited the skills from their families. Wang Su smiled first and then sighed. You know my dad. He's as stubborn as a donkey. He can't stand me being in the underworld. But once you're in the underworld, you can't help yourself. Sigh, only when we're playing chess does he give me some face and say a few words. He was speaking like an old man. After the small talk, Lu Cheng walked through the door of the unit and walked up the familiar stairs to his house on the 5th floor. This community was built 10 years ago, before elevators and apartments were popular in Shoshan. Therefore, the highest building here was only 6 floors. Seeing the gray-blue security door, Lu Cheng smiled and took out the key. It was 5:00. His mom must be at home preparing dinner. He didn't tell his mom in advance that he was going home today because he wanted to give them a surprise. Dang 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 dang. Lu Cheng turned the key and opened the door with the background music in his heart. He shouted, Mom, I'm home. His voice echoed and the room was silent. Lu Cheng was stunned. He put on his slippers and walked to the kitchen. There was no trace of cooking. Damn, where is she? Lu Cheng took out his phone and dialed his mom's number. Where's the surprise? The phone was connected. Lu Cheng's mom's familiar voice came through. Cheng, when are you coming home? The other kids are all on vacation. Mom, I'm at home now. Where are you? Lu Cheng asked in a daze. Why didn't you say you were coming home? Lu Cheng's mom raised her voice. Lu Cheng's mouth twitched. I wanted to give you a surprise. Surprise your ass. It's more like a shock. One of my relatives is getting married. Your dad and I are at Ningxue for the wedding. We won't be back tonight. You can handle it yourself. Lu Cheng's mom scolded him. Ningxue was a county under Shoshan. Is this the kind of treatment I get when I come home from so far away? Lu Cheng didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Lu Cheng's mom laughed. You didn't tell me in advance. If you didn't, I would have let your dad come by himself. Are you surprised? Yes. Lu Cheng was speechless. After hanging up the phone, he looked around at the deserted surroundings. He could only sigh. As expected of his biological son, he still had to find his own food. Back in his room full of posters of Dragon King and other martial artists, Lu Cheng put down his luggage and took out his phone. He sent a message to Yenjika. No one is here to receive me. No food. Everyone is at the wedding. Yenjika quickly replied with a photo. It was a picture of a round table with a turntable. There were dozens of dishes on it. My dinner tonight is for you to satisfy your cravings. You're welcome. Look at my eyes. Lu Cheng sent a sad emoji. The left-behind child was abandoned. While chatting with Yenjika, he began to think about dinner. He planned to gather his friends for dinner. After all, he had money. He first left a message to Kai Zongming. Talker, I have a secret for you. I got the secret of the top 8 in the Warrior Sage Challenge tournament. Now I can crush your secret. Then he looked for Jiang Fei on QQ. Fatty Jiang, are you free? I'm going back to Shushan. Let's have dinner together. If Fatty Jiang was not free, he would look for him one by one. Oh, you're finally back. I thought you were having a good time. Where are you going? Jiang Fei didn't hesitate. This is called friendship. Lu Qing thought for a while. Old Lu barbecue. He could send a photo to Yan Jika and let her eat it. Chapter 72. Okay, wait for me. I'll pick you up. Jiang Fei replied with a big laugh. Lu Cheng was stunned. Pick me up? Hey, you'll know later. You can ask old Cheng if he wants to come with you. Fatty Jiang mentioned Ching Chili, another best friend. Lu Cheng replied with a scornful emoji. I'll ask even if you don't tell me. I'll beat him up. After that, he clicked on Ching Chili's QQ, whose nickname was, I love advanced mathematics. Old Cheng, are you there? I'm back. After waiting for a few minutes, Lu Cheng got no response, so he simply dialed Ching Chili's mobile number. Ching Chili's mobile number was set up in another place. Lu Cheng didn't know if he had changed his number at home. After the divine melody ringtone, a familiar but hoarse voice came from the other end of the phone. Cheng. Old Cheng, what's wrong? You don't sound well. Lu Cheng asked with concern. Ching Chili laughed. It's nothing serious. My relatives came to my house today. They said I'm an adult in college and can drink. They forced me to drink a few glasses and made me feel dizzy. I slept the whole afternoon. If it wasn't for your call, I wouldn't know when I would wake up. Hey, Cheng, your voice doesn't sound right. It's a bit nasal. You caught a cold? Yeah, but I'll get better soon. I'm going back to Shushan. I'm going to ask Fatty Jiang out for barbecue. Are you free? Lu Cheng didn't need to be polite in front of Ching Chili. He asked directly. Ching Chili sighed. I can't. It's a family gathering. I'm so busy during the spring festival. I'll find you tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. Okay, we'll talk about it then. Lu Cheng hung up the phone and replied to Yan Jika's message. He quickly packed his luggage, put the unwashed clothes in 2 basins, and put his laptop on the desk in his room. At this time, the sky was gloomy and there were signs of night falling before 6 o'clock. The lights in the room created a warm and bright environment. Lu Cheng looked around and felt a little strange to this place where he had slept for almost 10 years. On his left was a bed that was 1.5 meters wide and had been replaced with a brand new 4-piece set. His mother had probably done this in advance, saving him a lot of time. On his right were a bookcase and a wardrobe. The former was filled with all kinds of martial arts magazines, novels, and comics, as well as the 12 sections of Shu Mountain and Tai Chi pole exercise that he had bought when he was young and naive. He had fantasized about becoming a master by himself and shocking the entire school. Unfortunately, these things were not real, but there was no one to guide him and he did not have the time to persevere. In the end, it was useless. Between the bed and the bookcase was a desk with a lamp, a wall calendar, a pen holder, a piggy bank, and so on. The drawers on both sides were locked with photos of Yan Jika from elementary school, middle school, and high school. He had once regretted that there were too many classes in high school and that there was no group photo of Yan Jika. But now, it didn't matter anymore. Just as he finished cleaning up and dispelled the slight unfamiliarity, Jiang Fei sent a message on QQ, Cheng, come down. I'm at the entrance of your neighborhood. Okay. Lu Cheng took his wallet and thought for a while. Then he took out 7 or 8 notes from the 10,000 yuan hidden in the depths of the drawer. He rushed out of the door excitedly and came to the entrance of the neighborhood. He looked left and right, looking for Fatty Jiang. But there was no familiar guy in the cold wind whistling on the road. Beep! Beep! A car horn suddenly sounded. Lu Qing subconsciously looked over and saw a white Ford car parked at the entrance of the neighborhood rolling down the window. Cheng! Jiang Fei's slightly proud deep voice came from the car. Lu Qing let out a, "Hey," and walked over. He opened the door of the passenger seat and said, "Not bad. You can drive now." Only then did he recognize that it was Fatty Jiang's father's car. It wasn't expensive, but it wasn't cheap either. It was just like his family's financial situation. Jiang Fei was wearing a dark blue down jacket with his chest open, revealing the black turtleneck sweater inside. His round face was fatter than when they last met at the end of August. He had 3 chins and a bulging belly, as if he had been pregnant for 5 or 6 months. He smiled and said, "Although I didn't find a girlfriend this semester, I got my driver's license. Our school can use it as credit for an elective course. TSK, you can't judge a book by its cover. I thought you would stay in the dormitory and play games for a semester." Lu Qing sat down, closed the door and fastened the seatbelt. Compared to the cold outside, the inside was like heaven. Jiang Fei put down the handbrake and pushed the gear lever. He said with a smile, "Driving is a basic skill now. It takes too much time to take the test after college. You should take it when you have time." "If I have time." Lu Qing thought of his daily training. He took out his phone and sent a sneering emoji to Yenjika. "I'm going out. Going to Old Lu barbecue with Fatty Jiang from our class." Yenjika replied with, "I'll kill you with my eyes. You're getting bolder and bolder. How dare you provoke me? Didn't you say I won't forget your kindness?" "I'm wrong, Coach Yen. See me admit my mistake." Lu Qing replied with a big smile. Jiang Fei glanced at him and looked ahead. He smiled while driving. "Cheng, who are you chatting with? Why are you smiling so obscenely? Your girlfriend? You didn't mention it before." "I'm almost there. I'm still working on it." Lu Qing didn't hide it. Jiang Fei said, "Not bad. I didn't expect you to take the initiative to pursue someone. You're really a man on the outside. Maybe you're the first one to find a girlfriend." "Is that girl a classmate of Songqing University?" "Yes." Lu Qing nodded. "Not only a classmate of Songqing University, but also a classmate of high school. Songqing University is really balanced between men and women, unlike us. By the way, Qing, do you know Yenjika got into Songqing University?" Jiang Fei suddenly asked. Lu Qing was stunned. "Yes, I've seen her." Not only had he seen her, but he saw her every day. Jiang Fei looked ahead and turned the steering wheel. "I despise you. You've seen her, but you didn't mention it to me." He didn't wait for Lu Qing to answer. He suddenly sighed. "Do you remember the first year of high school when the military training ended? A lot of boys were saying that there was a super beauty in class 3, even prettier than a star. We took a detour to the toilet of class 3 just to take a look. After that, we often talked about it in private. Every time we did martial arts exercises, we would line up near class 3 and pretend to pass by class 3's door from time to time. At that time, I didn't think about pursuing her. I always thought it was a good thing to look at her. This is probably my best memory of girls in high school." Youth. Lu Qing also felt sentimental when he heard that. It was a pure and innocent love. At that time, a lot of people pretended to pass by and often bumped into guys they knew. The boys of class 3 were brazenly making fun of them. He recalled. At the same time, he kept typing and sent a message to Yenjika. "I'm reminiscing about high school with Fatty Jiang. Do you remember that people often passed by and peeped at you in the first semester of high school?" Jiang Fei sighed and shook his head. "Now that I think about it, it's quite silly. I don't know if Yenjika found out at that time. What did she think of us?" Beep. Yenjika replied with a messy emoji. "I remember. I felt like a panda in a zoo, being visited one by one. I had to lie on my stomach and pretend to sleep. Hey, did you also pass by? I think she can't remember passers-by like us. Lu Qing shattered Fatty Zhang's fantasy with a description that matched the facts. He then replied to Yen Jika with a smile. Yes, I pretended to pass by several times. Unfortunately, I was just a passerby at that time. You probably don't remember. This could be considered as another ambiguous sentence. Yen Jika sent a smirk and didn't say more. At this time, they had arrived at the Old Lu barbecue, which was not too far away. Jiang Fei stopped the car a little awkwardly. After a while, he was sweating profusely and finally finished. He turned off the engine and locked the car. Yeah, why would she remember passers-by like us and Song Bingy? Not only is she prettier than the stars, but she's also super good at studying. I heard that she has a good personality too. If all her suitors spit at us, they might drown us in their saliva. But a person like her must have high standards. There hasn't been any rumors about her. She should be the type who focuses on her studies. Hey, why do you think she applied for Songqing University? Wouldn't it be better to go to Beijing or Huahai? Lu Qing thought seriously and answered, maybe it's because of family reasons. Don't make wild guesses. It's definitely not reliable. Wait for me to ask Du Liu. Song Li and Yen Jika are pretty close. Jiang Fei laughed. Nowadays, no one believes the truth. Lu Qing looked at the sky speechlessly and felt an inexplicable sense of satisfaction. While talking, they walked into the Old Lu barbecue. The shop had just opened and only served the night market. 20 skewers of 5 flour, 20 skewers of beef, 20 skewers of pork ribs, 20 skewers of palm treasures, 20 skewers of mutton, 20 skewers of chicken tips, 10 skewers of chicken wings, 10 skewers of kidney, 10 skewers of potatoes, 10 skewers of green beans, 1 serving of chives, 1 grilled fish, 4 grilled eggplants. Lu Qing ordered without looking at the menu. Shushan belonged to the inland. Barbecue shops usually didn't serve seafood. Jiang Fei was shocked. So much? Don't be so narrow-minded. When they came here last time, the two of them had only ordered 1/3 of this amount. Even if the quantity of each skewer in Shushan was obviously different from that in the north, it was still terrifying to order so much. Maybe we'll order more later. I'm practicing martial arts and I have a big appetite now. Lu Qing said with a smile. Jiang Fei was skeptical. Under the light of the shop, he looked Lu Qing up and down. Practicing martial arts? Anyway, Qing, you seem to have matured a little. This is called temperament. Lu Qing answered in a joking tone. What do you want to drink? Beer, of course. Let's drink a few glasses and find someone to drive us later. Jiang Fei turned to the waitress beside him, thinking about how much to order. Lu Qing waved his hand and smiled. I quit drinking for the sake of practicing martial arts. Besides, I have a cold now. Just give me a bottle of mineral water. He could foresee that he would have to say these words again and again. But since he had chosen the path of martial arts, he had to stick to it. He was not lazy and was not afraid of social interaction. Jiang Fei looked at him doubtfully. Really? Lu Qing nodded steadily. Why would I lie to you? He expressed his firm will in his tone. Well then, no one is drinking with me and I have to drive. Forget it, I want herbal tea. Jiang Fei rubbed his hands and didn't force him. By the way, Qing, since you're practicing martial arts, do you know any local martial arts club or gym? No, why? Lu Qing asked in confusion. Jiang Fei showed a bitter smile. I'm King fat again. I want to lose weight so that I won't get rounder after the new year. At least I need to stabilize my weight. But it's almost New Year, so martial arts clubs and gyms are closed. I can't find any. Lu Qing smiled. This kind of thing depends on self-awareness and persistence. Well, if you really want to lose weight, follow me to exercise every morning. I'm practicing martial arts every day. Jiang Fei took a breath. Cheng, I didn't expect you to be so hardworking in martial arts. Has this old man gone crazy from talking? The waitress came back with herbal tea and mineral water. She opened them and filled their glasses. Do you know how to quote a poem? Lu Qing glanced at him. Are you going to exercise or not? Jiang Fei thought for a while. Okay, let's try. What time is it in the morning? He picked up the glass and drank the herbal tea. Later. I'll run to your house and call you. It's 6:10 a.m. Lu Qing thought for a while and answered. Puff. Jiang Fei spat out the herbal tea in his mouth. Lu Qing quickly raised his arm to block it, but was almost sprayed all over his face. 6:10 a.m. 6:10 a.m. in the middle of winter? Jiang Fei wiped his mouth. Lu Qing looked at him with disdain. This is the time to test your will to lose weight. If you agree but don't get up, I'll smash your window. Hee hee, I've been wanting to do this for a long time. My slingshot is thirsty. Let's try it for 2 days first. Jiang Fei hesitated and agreed. Chapter 73. It was a cold winter night. The alley where Old Lu Barbecue was located was dilapidated and deserted, but the customers came one after another, which showed its fame. Decadent sounds came faintly from afar. It was brightly lit. It was another world. It was a famous bar street in Xiucheng. Only 3 alleys away, it was a completely different world from here. When he was in his second year of high school, Lu Qing was sitting in front of a playboy who gave up the college entrance examination. From time to time, he would mention the bar street in front of him, saying that he was very familiar with it. Therefore, Lu Qing had been famous for a long time. But every time he came here, he would just eat barbecue and never take a detour. He always felt that the security around the bars and dance halls must be bad, so it was better to stay away from them. Listening to the singing in the air and smelling the fragrance of the barbecue, Lu Qing was suddenly hungry. The more he drank mineral water, the hungrier he became. Hey, Fatty Jiang, has the class reunion been decided? He tried to focus on the conversation. Jiang Fei gulped down a mouthful of herbal tea and smacked his lips. It's too sweet. It's different from the one in Guangnan. The reunion is 3 days from now. We'll climb Shushan and walk to the conference villa of Spring Scenery Field. Conference villa of Spring Scenery Field? Why do you make it so grand? Lu Qing was shocked. Jiang Fei laughed. You don't understand, do you? It's almost Chinese New Year, so there are no meetings there. The price is very low, not much more expensive than going to a farmhouse. 200 yuan per person is enough. You can play table tennis, badminton, tennis, basketball, free KTV, mahjong room, and chess room. If you don't want to play these, you can climb the mountain, exercise, and breathe the fresh air. Everyone is happy. You can do whatever you want. Hee hee, there's a hot spring hotel nearby. If you want to go there, just spend some money. For me, these are not attractive. It's better to sit in a group and chat, reminisce the embarrassing moments and share the experience of college. Lu Qing picked up the tissue next to him and blew his nose. Bah. You're just pretending. I remember you liked to sing karaoke. Someone was a microphone hog several times during the summer vacation after the college entrance examination. Jiang Fei exposed Lu Qing's lie without mercy. Lu Qing laughed dryly and changed the topic. How many people are coming this time? Only a few who are not in Shushan didn't come. The rest have all agreed. I wonder if those couples in the Daoist class have split up, and how many of the single dogs have found a partner. Jiang Fei said excitedly, completely not caring that he was a genuine single dog for 18 years. Lu Qing admired Fatty Jiang the most. He had a good personality, wasn't petty, could take a joke, and wasn't afraid of saying the wrong thing in front of him. Back when he was addicted to detective novels, he always wondered if Fatty Jiang was only open-minded on the surface and kept all his anger bottled up in his heart. Sooner or later, he would be completely twisted and turn into a cold-blooded killer. He had specifically asked Fatty Jiang about Fatty Jiang's mental journey and found that Fatty Jiang was simply forgetful. He would forget the matter that made him angry just a moment ago. His life was enviable. Lu Qing coughed a few times. Which teachers did you invite? Only Old Wu and teacher Xan. The others were either too busy or didn't dare to invite, such as Old Li, Jiang Fei said with a smile. Old Li was the math teacher that Lu Qing and Yan Zhika had complained about. As the director of the academic affairs office, he was quite frightening to the students. Old Wu and teacher Xan had served as the head teacher of Lu Cheng's class respectively. One taught Chinese, the other taught chemistry. Old Wu is a martial arts fan. Every time he comes to the class to patrol, he always talks about martial arts with us. Lu Cheng was quite happy to meet the head teacher of the senior year. At this time, the waitress served the first batch of easy-to-barbecue meat skewers and sprinkled some chopped green onions on them. Lu Cheng held back his hunger and took a picture with his mobile phone. He didn't send it to Yan Zhika immediately. He planned to show it off when the highlight came. Done with the consecration? Fatty Jiang asked with a smile. Yes, let's eat. Lu Qing didn't hesitate and reached for a skewer of streaky pork. The meat skewers of Old Lu's barbecue were marinated with secret seasonings in advance. The aroma entered the nose and was indescribably attractive. Lu Qing ate a skewer in 2 or 3 bites. He felt that his mouth was full of all kinds of wonderful flavors, which made him miss the taste that made him hungry at midnight. He liked the skewers with some fatty meat so that they wouldn't be dry after being barbecued. The fat was forced out by the flame little by little, making sizzling sounds. The aroma was strong, but it wasn't too greasy. It melted in his mouth, and his mouth was full of the fragrance of oil. It was so delicious that he couldn't stop eating. After eating more than a dozen skewers, Lu Cheng's hunger was slightly relieved. He had time to chat with Jiang Fei. They chatted about the interesting things in their respective schools and gossips of their high school classmates. After the first batch was finished, the second batch, which was harder to barbecue, was served. There were chicken wings, chicken tips, pork ribs, and so on. The signature grilled eggplant was also placed in 2 iron plates. The grilled eggplant here was completely different from those in other places, including Songcheng and Yanling. After the grilled eggplant was roasted, there was a special process of stir-frying the ingredients. The secret seasonings and crispy peas were stir-fried with oil on high heat and poured over the grilled eggplant. The mixture penetrated the eggplant from the inside out and melted with the grilled eggplant juice. There was a little smell of fish and the taste of the eggplant itself. It was unforgettable and full of praise. In Lu Cheng's heart, eggplant was the emperor of the barbecue world. It was better than meat. Yan Zhika, who lived in Jiangnan, also couldn't forget it. As for those who liked to drink, they liked the crispy peas even more. They picked up one and chewed for a while, which was enough to go with the wine. Seeing that the highlight was coming, Lu Qing picked up his phone again, adjusted the background color, took a picture that was very appetizing, and sent it to Yan Zhika together with the previous picture. I'm so satisfied. He deliberately showed off. Yan Zhika immediately replied with a throwing dog emoji. The puppy of friendship is already dead. The corners of his mouth curled up, and a smile unconsciously appeared on his face. He typed another reply. Jiang Fei picked up a piece of eggplant meat and stuffed it into his mouth. He clicked his tongue and said, Cheng, you're in love. You have to introduce us to her when you get her. Let's see what kind of beauty has you so infatuated with. Actually, you know her and just sighed with emotion. Lu Qing silently ridiculed. He put down his phone, picked up the eggplant meat and dipped it in the gravy. Okay, if it works out. He put the chopsticks into his mouth and the taste that he always missed burst out. He was so moved that his chopsticks flew. Jiang Fei picked up the herbal tea and said with a smile, "Then I wish you success. When the time comes and I have a target, I will ask for your advice. By the way, sister-in-law, do you have any girlfriends or friends? Remember me as your brother." Sister-in-law, that's a good name. Lu Qing praised in his heart. He thought for a while and joked, "You should lose weight first." Jiang Fei rolled his eyes and asked with great interest, "How do you know each other? Is she in your university class?" No, we are both in Songqing University Martial Arts Club." Lu Qing told the truth, but not the whole truth. "The first time we met was when you took me to the 3rd class to see the beauties." He didn't want to tell Fatty Jiang and the others before he really got Yan Zhika. They were all high school classmates and knew each other. If the news spread and he failed miserably, it would be King embarrassing. Besides, he believed that Yan Zhika wouldn't like gossip. "Damn, so that's why you insist on practicing martial arts?" Jiang Fei suddenly realized, as if he had solved the question he didn't dare to ask before. You can't judge a book by its cover. "Cheng, I didn't expect you to pay such a big price to not be a single dog." They talked and laughed, eating eggplant and chicken wings. In the end, the grilled fish was served. It was cooked in a similar way to the grilled eggplant, but for some reason, it was still not as good as the grilled eggplant in Lu Cheng's heart. After finishing the grilled fish, Lu Cheng added some more. Jiang Fei was stunned by Lu Cheng's appetite. He said with some fear, "Cheng, if I train with you, will I eat as much as you? How can I lose weight then? Do you think I'm fat?" Lu Cheng took out his wallet and asked for the bill. After this meal, he felt completely alive. His cold symptoms were alleviated and his body was full of strength again. Jiang Fei looked at him carefully and said, "No." "Then it's settled. What's there to be afraid of?" Lu Cheng was full of confidence. Seeing the boss coming, Jiang Fei also took out his wallet. "Hey, Cheng, I'll do it. It's a welcome dinner for you. How can you pay for it?" Hey, I recently joined a martial arts competition and earned some extra money. You don't have to compete with me." Lu Cheng showed off a little. Jiang Fei looked at him in surprise. "Earned money from a martial arts competition? Cheng, how long have you been practicing martial arts?" "I get it. You must have bullied a primary school student. Get lost." Lu Cheng said concisely and paid for the barbecue. The total was less than 500 yuan. Although the weight of each skewer was not as good as other places, or even a little worse, it was quite cost-effective. Seeing that Lu Cheng was really rich, Jiang Fei did not rush to pay. He touched his belly and said, "Let's go for a walk nearby to digest. TSK, the food in Shoshan is so cheap. In Guangnan, there are so many barbecue skewers and grilled fish. How can 400 yuan be enough?" Lu Cheng nodded and seriously asked the boss when the restaurant would open after the Spring Festival. Old Lu Barbecue would be on holiday the day after tomorrow. After receiving the news that the restaurant would open on the 8th day of the Spring Festival, he put his hand in his pocket with satisfaction. He had already ordered a small vacuum machine and an insulated lunch box, waiting for them to arrive after the Spring Festival. The feeling of being rich is really different. In the whistling cold wind, the two strolled in the alley and continued to chat about various things. They strolled on the road to digest. Subconsciously, they avoided the road to the bar street and walked in the opposite direction. After turning into an alley, they saw a back street in front of them. The street lights were broken, so it was dark. Only the lights of the surrounding houses seeped through the windows, faintly discernible. "Let's go back. Who knows what we will step on in the dark." Jiang Fei pulled up his down jacket. Lu Cheng was about to answer when he suddenly saw several figures in front of them. One was desperately running away, and the other three were chasing after him with gleaming machetes. In the cold and dark alley, there was a burst of messy footsteps. "Damn, the mafia will cut people. Let's avoid them." Jiang Fei was so scared that he started to tremble. Lu Qing did not want to cause trouble, so he immediately pulled Zhang Fei back and leaned to the side. At this moment, the running man entered a section with light around him. Wang Su. It was Wang Su. The one being chased was Wang Su. Lu Cheng's senses were very sharp and his eyes were very sharp. He immediately recognized that the running man with knife wounds and bleeding was his childhood friend, Wang Su, whom he had met in the community before dinner. Chapter 74. In the dark, the back street seemed to be condensed into a scene in a movie. Lu Cheng had been used to making quick decisions. After recognizing Wang Su, an idea flashed through his mind and he was ready to save him. If it was in the past, he would most likely not have dared to do so. Like Zhang Fei, he would be trembling with fear, not even daring to take a second look. At most, he would help to call the police, even if the person being chased was his childhood friend, someone who had once taken care of him. After all, he did not have the ability to do so. Not only would it be useless to interfere, but it would also hurt himself and implicate his family. But now, after the tempering of the Little Warrior Sage Challenge tournament, his martial arts and spirit had undergone a complete transformation. He was good at observation, decisive in his actions, and confident and steady in his bones. How could he not dare to help when he had the ability? Did he really want to watch Wang Su being hacked to death in front of him? In a flash, Lu Qing took off his down jacket and stuffed it into Zhang Fei's arms. He whispered, "Hide well." Zhang Fei was frightened and shocked. He didn't know what Lu Qing was going to do until he saw Lu Qing rushing out. He wanted to shout to stop him, but he didn't dare to open his mouth. He was extremely flustered. Why was Qing so reckless? Those were gangsters with knives. There were 3 of them. What should I do? While his mind was in a mess, Lu Qing didn't approach him directly. Instead, he observed the terrain and environment to make sure there were no cameras. Then, he lowered his center of gravity and walked like a snake. He meandered through the dark area, not letting the dim light from the houses on both sides reveal his appearance. With the experience of pacing back and forth between victory and defeat in the challenge tournament and the accident of the Jin Dan, he was no longer flustered in the face of trouble. He could calmly consider the consequences of saving someone. If he was caught on camera, and if his appearance or characteristics were remembered by the pursuers, he was afraid that it would bring a lot of follow-up troubles to himself and his family. In particular, it was impossible for him to directly kill and silence them. Swaying his center of gravity in weird snake steps, Lu Qing approached very carefully. His eyes were locked on the 3 approaching enemies. He was not careless because he had fought a professional 9th pin before. There was an old saying in the body refining stage, no matter how good your martial arts are, you are still afraid of a kitchen knife. Even a professional 9th pin fighter would be cautious when facing more than 3 people with knives. A little carelessness could hurt him, let alone him who had just recovered from the backlash of the Jin Dan. This was not the challenge tournament where the referee was the last guarantee. Even if some fighters were too fast and some were too close, the referee could not stop them in time. At least most of the dangerous situations had been filtered out. In a real battle, knives and guns have no eyes. Life and death in a moment. Therefore, it was fine if they didn't make a move, but once they did, they had to use all their strength to injure others. They had to quickly kill one of them so that the number of people would be reduced to 2 against 2. The sky was dark, and the moon was nowhere to be seen. The 4 of them had no time to be distracted and didn't notice that someone was approaching them. When the distance between them was shortened to 10 meters, when they entered the darkest part of the back street, Lu Qing suddenly sped up. With a few big strides, he came to Wang Su's side. He flashed past Wang Su's left and stared at the first thug's knife. Wang Su ran forward as usual. He felt like a ghost flashed past him. The leading thug saw Lu Qing running straight at him. He did not dare to be careless. He grinned, raised his right hand holding the knife, and was about to chop down. Blood splattered in 5 steps. At this moment, Lu Qing saw his wrist move. Suddenly, a a silver lightning struck in Lu Cheng's mind, illuminating the darkness and igniting a prairie fire. The hot flow flowed down the spine and turned into an explosion of stamping on the ground. His speed was pushed to the extreme in an instant. Like an arrow leaving the bow, he jumped in front of the thug. He raised his hands and blocked the thug's wrist that misjudged the speed and the distance between them. The wrist that swung down, the wrist that held the knife. Close at hand, the long machete would lose its effect. Lu Cheng blocked the wrist, twisted his waist and back, tightened his thigh muscles, and his knee whizzed out and hit the thug's abdomen in front of him. Puff! The thug's abdomen caved in with a dull sound. His eyes bulged, tears and snot flowed out. His body went soft and was about to collapse. Lu Cheng retracted one hand and supported him. His other hand twisted and broke the wrist holding the knife. He shook to the side and let the machete fall to the ground. He directly disabled a thug in a face-to-face confrontation. This caused the pupils of the other thug to contract. Without thinking, he brandished his knife and slashed at Wang Su. He no longer chased after Wang Su, and the third thug behind him also caught up. Lu Cheng was not in a hurry. He straightened his waist and back and pushed the guy he supported directly to the thug next to him, making the latter panic. He took a step to the left, as if he was ready to hit the vital part from the side. Seeing this, the third thug immediately swung his knife to save his companion. All of a sudden, Lu Cheng's spine moved like a dragon breaking through a fence. He forced his muscles to change his center of gravity and pulled his body back. Then he spun his feet and came to the back of the third thug. Such a change in the dark street really gave one a feeling of being haunted. Changing his position, Lu Cheng lowered his center of gravity and put on a sitting posture. In his mind, the snowy peaks collapsed and white streams rolled, unstoppable. He raised his right arm and punched down fiercely with the force of a hammer. Bam! This punch landed heavily on the third fighter's shoulder, making a cracking sound. The fighter's right shoulder caved in and he let out a miserable cry. The fighter dropped his machete and rolled on the ground with his left hand on his right shoulder. The mighty mega avalanche. In 2 breaths, the remaining thug did not even see his opponent's height, short, fat or thin. He was scared out of his wits and stopped attacking. He did not think about his companion anymore. He waved his machete wildly and hurriedly ran back. A wise man submits to circumstances. Lu Cheng pretended to be chasing him and deliberately made a stomping sound. He was scared out of his wits and did not dare to look back. Like a rabbit shot by an arrow, he quickly jumped to the other end of the back street and blended into the darkness. Hearing the scream, Wang Su stopped in shock and looked back. He saw that the pursuers were either falling down or running away. It was calm now. "Who is it?" he asked subconsciously. Meanwhile, Jiang Fei, who was hiding in a dark corner, was already dumbfounded. He did not know what time it was. He seemed to have seen Superman just now. No, how did Ching become Superman? The phone in his hand was flashing, but the fight was over before he could make a call. Lu Cheng walked back to the light and observed the 2 thugs who were groaning on the ground. He was afraid that they had the strength to stand up again. At the same time, he put his index finger to his mouth and signaled Wang Su to keep quiet. When Wang Su saw the figure walking out of the darkness, his mind was in a trance. He even forgot about the pain from the knife wound on his back. He wondered if he had been slashed to the ground and was on the verge of death. He was having a bizarre dream and hallucinations of dying. How could it be Ching? He was not weak, but he was a good student who did not dare to fight. He was not as strong as Wang Su and was not as courageous as Wang Su. It was not an exaggeration to say that he was a bookworm. But it was this kind of Cheng who defeated the 3 thugs who were chasing him with knives in a few breaths. They were amateur 6th or 7th pin machete men who were highly valued by the boss of the enemy force. What was this if not a dream? Didn't I say I would teach him a few moves and improve his martial arts? The pain woke him up quickly. Noticing Lu Cheng's gesture, he pointed outside and quickly turned into another alley. Lu Cheng ran back to his original position, pulled the stupefied Jiang Fei, and quickly left the place. The dim back street was once again deserted. Only 2 figures were still curled up on the ground, groaning in pain. 2 alleys away, Lu Qing met up with Wang Su. He asked Jiang Fei to hide not far away so that his high school buddy would not be involved in this kind of thing. "Do you have a place to go?" Lu Qing asked straightforwardly. Wang Su wrapped his wound with the clothes inside and said absent-mindedly, "I have a place to go. I can treat the wound there. Then go quickly. I won't get involved. We can talk later." Lu Cheng's tone was firm. He made it clear that he would not get involved in this kind of thing. He was just saving a friend. Wang Su exhaled and nodded. "If this thing can be settled, I will come and talk to you later." After that, he quickened his pace and disappeared at the other end of the alley. Looking at his back, Lu Qing shook his head and sighed. He quickly left this place and took Jiang Fei back to the old Lu barbecue. They sat in the car. Jiang Fei was still in a state of shock. He stole glances at Lu Qing from time to time. "I said, if you want to see it, just do it openly." Lu Qing put on his down jacket again and replied to Yan Zhika's message. "Do you know the one who was being chased?" Jiang Fei asked casually. "Yes, he is my childhood friend." Lu Qing gave a concise answer. Jiang Fei didn't care about this question. He stared at Lu Qing and said, "Qing, when did you become Superman? I remember we used to fight and you were crushed by my weight. There was martial arts content in high school PE, and the 2 of them had pretended to spar a few times. Didn't I tell you that I joined the university martial arts club and practiced martial arts every day?" Lu Qing raised his chin. "Let's go back early." Jiang Fei started the car and muttered, "Didn't you join the martial arts club to chase girls? It's only been a few months." "Both hands have to be strong," Lu Qing said casually. He was in a bad mood because of Wang Su, so he didn't take the opportunity to show off that he had participated in the Warrior Sage Challenge tournament and fought with professional 9th pin fighters several times. Before starting the car, Jiang Fei looked at Lu Qing again. Under the light in the car, he found that his high school friend's face was a little haggard. But compared to before, he was thinner. From the eyebrows to the chin, the lines and contours were more distinct. He pursed his lips tightly and had a calming temperament. He seemed to be full of confidence in his words and actions, which made people follow his orders subconsciously. "Qing, you seem to have matured." Jiang Fei couldn't find the right words to describe it. He had said this when they were eating barbecue, but now it had a different meaning. Lu Qing smiled. "I hope it's a compliment." Chapter 75. "Of course it's a compliment," Jiang Fei answered without hesitation. The unfamiliarity brought about by the shock and fear had completely faded away. As he steered the steering wheel, he clicked his tongue and said, "Compared to the end of August, you're like a completely different person. If it weren't for the fact that you're still so boring and have such a cheap mouth, I would have thought that I had met a stranger who looked like you. If you didn't say the latter part, we would still be good friends." Lu Qing laughed and scolded him. What was boring and mean? What was mean by mean? Jiang Fei looked ahead and became more excited. "Qing, how did you do it? How long has it been?" "Not even half a year." "How did you suddenly become so powerful?" "Just now, I saw you take care of a few gangsters with knives in just a few moves. Previously, I had been concentrating on my studies, so I didn't realize that I had the talent to enter meditation." Enter meditation. Songqing University Martial Arts Club, in order to regain its glory, found a good coach this year. With the combination of these 2 factors, I improved by leaps and bounds. However, this effect only appeared at the very beginning. The higher you go, the more difficult it is, and the slower your improvement. Jiang Fei was not a pure martial arts fan. He just liked to join in the fun. He had no direct impression of the amateur ranks outside of the professional martial arts competition, so he couldn't judge Lu Cheng's general level. He knew that Lu Cheng was very powerful, but he didn't know how powerful he was. So he laughed and said, I see. Why didn't I realize that you have talent? Brother Lu, Master Cheng, if I'm bullied in the future, you have to help me. Who are we? A cloud-piercing arrow and thousands of soldiers and horses will come to meet us. Lu Cheng joked. Jiang Fei drove steadily, but his tone was more excited. Cheng, tomorrow morning, can you teach me a few moves? So that I can show off? Sure, as long as you can calm down and stand still. Lu Cheng nodded slightly. Still stance was the foundation of real martial arts, followed by moving stance, which was the so-called routine training method. Lastly, it was the practical fighting method such as 24 blizzard strikes. Jiang Fei said excitedly, don't worry. I'm forgetful. I can calm down. I doubt it. Lu Cheng complained silently. Fatty Zhang's mind drifted and he liked to fantasize, which was the opposite of the requirement of concealment of spirit and qi. While talking, the car arrived at the destination and stopped at the gate of the community. Lu Cheng unbuckled his seatbelt and said, go to bed early. If you can't get up tomorrow morning, we'll forget it. When I was in high school, I worked hard and I got up early. Jiang Fei said proudly, Cheng, I'll keep it a secret. Yeah, I didn't see anything before. Lu Cheng laughed. He stood outside the car door and looked down at Fatty Jiang. Well, if you didn't mention it, I would have forgotten that you have a big mouth. Back home, the room was still empty. Lu Cheng recalled the rescue process and confirmed that there was no problem with the details. As long as Wang Su didn't say anything, he couldn't find him. Then he was completely relieved. He was busy for a while, washing the clothes and throwing them into the washing machine. Then he logged into the mailbox to see if his master had sent him the video and information of the big and small hand wrap. Not yet. Then I'll focus on recovery training tomorrow. Lu Cheng sat on the sofa, playing with his phone and chatting with Yan Zhika while waiting for the clothes to be washed. Around 9 o'clock, he was about to get up to dry the clothes when he suddenly heard light footsteps from the 4th floor to the 5th floor. Lu Cheng turned his ear and naturally entered the condensation stance state. He was sure that it was only one person, so he calmly walked to the entrance. After confirming that the footsteps stopped outside his house, he suddenly opened the door unexpectedly. Outside the door, Wang Su had changed his clothes and was wearing a military green coat. His face was pale and his eyes were full of shock. It seemed that he hadn't decided whether to knock or not. Have you treated the wound? How's it going? Lu Cheng signaled him to come in first. Wang Su stepped in carefully and said while closing the door, I asked someone to treat it. It's not a big deal. Tonight's disturbance has been temporarily settled. He was carrying a bottle of Ningxue Daku white wine, which was a local specialty. Once out of Shushan, it was impossible to see it again. Generally speaking, those who had some ability liked to get the original proof wine from Ningxue Wine Factory, which was said to be mellow, spicy, and fragrant. I know you've quit drinking. This is the authentic original proof wine I prepared for myself. Wang Su skillfully opened the cabinet where Lu Cheng's father kept the wine glasses and took out 2 glasses. Lu Cheng watched him wash the glasses and pour the wine. He was curious and amused. You're injured. Why are you drinking? How can we chat without drinking? Just treat it as disinfection. Wang Su sat down and said with a smile. How can you disinfect like that? Lu Cheng scolded with a smile. After the laughter, there was silence between them. It seemed that neither of them had figured out how to start the conversation. In the depressing silence, Wang Su picked up the glass and took a sip. He sighed and said, Cheng, I don't know how to thank you tonight. If it weren't for you, my parents would have to pour the wine on my grave. I haven't thanked you for taking care of me before. Now that I've learned some martial arts, how could I watch you die in front of me? Lu Cheng said frankly and sincerely. Before. Wang Su chuckled. To be honest, I was quite naive at that time. First, I thought about our childhood friendship. Second, I thought that the kids in our factory shouldn't be bullied by outsiders. Memories flashed in his mind. Lu Qing took a breath and said, "Brother Su, you can't go on like this." Wang Su raised his head and looked at him. He blurted out, "Tonight, it's all because of that son of AB** tch Jian Laosan. He hired a professional ninth pin master from the provincial capital and attacked our bar when we weren't prepared. He almost killed Lu on the spot. Luckily, Brother Biao and Brother Wei fought hard enough to stop him. But they outnumbered us, so we had to run. The ones who chased me were the saber men under Jian Laosan. They were all of amateur 6th or 7th pin. Usually, I can handle one of them, but at that time, I had no choice but to run. Cheng, I didn't expect you to be so powerful. You took care of them in 2 or 3 moves. Lu Qing shook his head. That's not the point, Brother Su. Not to mention that my abilities are limited. Even if I'm an expert, I can only save you once, but I can't save you forever. Do you really want to walk this path to the end? Wang Su fell silent. After a long time, he smiled bitterly and said, "I understand what you're saying. I've been in the underworld for a few years and I've seen a lot. The most successful big brothers have been washed clean, while the average ones have been beaten to death. No matter how good one's kung fu is, there's always a moment of carelessness. A moment of carelessness can lead to a different person. Among the group I followed, some of them lost their hands, and some died in the commercial street. Seeing their end, even if I'm a rash kid, I'm still scared. I tried to find a martial arts club to practice martial arts, and tried to quit. I saved a sum of money and planned to start a small business. But in the martial arts world, how can I control myself? Big Brother is going to start a movie and asked me to go. Should I go? What will happen if I don't go? Even if it's just for the sake of brotherhood, I can't refuse." Even during the most chaotic time in junior high, Lu Qing didn't know about these things. Hearing this, he felt depressed. After a moment of consideration, he said calmly, "Brother Su, have you ever thought of jumping out?" "Jumping out?" Wang Su looked at him in confusion. Lu Qing said calmly, "I went to Songqing to study. When I came back, I also took a trip to Yanling. In these 2 places, I almost couldn't feel the connection with Shushan. The world is so big, so why should I be trapped in Shushan? Since it's hard to cut ties here, why not try to go out and see the world? Wait 3 to 5 years and come back when they've almost forgotten you." Wang Su was stunned. After a long time, he took a sip of wine and said, "Cheng, you're still a student. Fortunately, I haven't become Li's henchman. Otherwise, if I get involved in some things and see some secrets, I won't be able to leave just because I want to. Besides, what can I do after I go out? Sell my strength? I see a few people in the community who work in other provinces live worse than me. What's the point of living like that? Don't you want to start a small business?" Lu Qing guessed that Wang Su must be very carefree. According to the playboy sitting in front of him, this kind of thug didn't have to worry about cigarettes, alcohol, women, or money. Ordinary people wouldn't even dare to look at him when he walked on the street. Wang Su lowered his head and poured the wine. He said slowly, "I'll think about it." Looking at him, Lu Qing suddenly felt a wave of emotion. 2 people with similar family backgrounds had chosen different paths in junior high school and led completely different lives. Lu Qing concentrated on his studies, entered number 1 middle school, and was admitted to Songqing University. Usually, he was in a clean classroom, a beautiful campus, and classmates from all over the world. They talked about games, movies, novels, teachers, girls, courses, and career prospects. Although there was pressure, he rarely came into contact with the bottom of society. He lived in a world where light was more than darkness, and hope was more than despair. Wang Su, on the other hand, was addicted to debauchery and scared of fighting for his life. Every time he got drunk, he might not be able to wake up safely. He enjoyed it, but the overall tone of life was gray. If he couldn't get to the top, if he couldn't successfully clear his name, he would be swallowed by the darkness sooner or later. Despair was more than light. Studying can change one's fate, and so can martial arts. Lu Cheng was more certain of this than at any other time. He changed the topic and said, "Brother Su, you didn't tell anyone about me, right?" Wang Su took another sip of wine. "Don't worry. I know you're a good student. I won't cause you trouble. Lu asked me before and I said I was lucky to meet a friend from the martial arts club. That's how I got away with it. By the way, how did you practice martial arts? How did you become so good all of a sudden?" "I just happened to be talented. I didn't know before I started practicing martial arts. I met a former physical invulnerability mighty one as my coach. That's how I managed to catch up with normal people." Lu Qing deliberately mentioned the existence of Geezershire. After witnessing Wang Su's daily life, although he was confident in their friendship, he didn't dare to be careless. The title of a physical invulnerability mighty one had directly destroyed all of his hopes and desires. Wang Su visibly trembled. He forced a smile and said, "No wonder I met a good coach. Cheng, can you teach me a few moves? So that I can have more assurance before I succeed in quitting. The foundation of my martial arts is still stance and meditation. You can try concealment of spirit and qi first." Lu Qing repeated the formula to Wang Su and explained a few key points. Wang Su knew that good martial arts were based on silence. He didn't question and listened carefully. At the end, he said, "I'll go back and practice. I'll ask you later. Keep this bottle of wine for Uncle Lu." After watching him leave the room and close the door, Lu Qing suddenly sighed. He felt that they were in a completely different world now. As for Wang Su's ability to meditate, he had no confidence at all. How could a drunk person meditate? Life is really full of different circumstances. P.S. As usual, I'll be updating in advance on Monday. Looking for recommendation tickets. Well, I'll be posting on the 1st of December. By then, I'll have over 400,000 chapters. I can't update, so I'm thanking everyone in this free way. You're tuning in to the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.